Yo, look who we got in the show. Frank Castle in the shadow.
What's up?
How are you enjoying that comedy stream before that got kicked off? How much of that did you get to see? Did you see the second part of the substitute teacher one?
I had to run outside. I was waiting for someone. That's what took me so long, and I hate when
Oh,
people are late. I'm like,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on, guy. You said 20, and that's like 40.
yeah. You know how it's hard to run a
Ugh,
business, man.
I
Especially
know
when it's
it
dependent on
is.
the
I,
customer. And
it's crazy.
so,
So how you guys been?
good man. How you been?
I'm pretty good right now. I had to take a little bit of a break because I can't seem to find enough time in my life to do music and help out anyone and to any degree at all.
Yeah,
And think about planning ahead and do like all that shuts down when it's time to hit the studio. And I
yeah.
got overwhelmed with the music. I have so many projects going on, I don't know what to do. But then it hit me, and I do know what to do, and it was just flying off the charts. But then I had to come back to my grandfather, so I'm here till tomorrow, and then I restart.
Cool, man.
Restart.
Right
I
on.
having some really interesting experiences while I've been here, though, because you guys know I've been dipping in the mushroom stash, and
Hmm.
I've been getting my work done on top of everything else. And a lot of the stuff you guys were talking about earlier about community and bringing everyone together. I tried this a long time ago, and then I watched this with other people, and there's a few successful ones where you try to make it a business, but not make it a business, bring everyone on board. It's like it helps everyone out, helps the program. And then egos always get attached.
Yeah.
I didn't get this. Why does this get this? And, you know,
Yeah.
it comes down to people thinking that you're using and abusing them. And
Right.
then if you're the guy that sits in the chair because it's your channel, you got to listen to this shit all day. And it starts to get old real quick. And you start to wonder, like we're doing spiritual stuff, right? If you
Yeah.
feel somehow threatened by me, that's your problem. Like you should never feel that, right? If everyone's on topic, right? There's no wrong way to do it, and everyone's got their own way, and you can follow this or you can follow that, and then we got juice for this and stuff for that, and things we take and crystals for this, and right. Well, when you have a channel with all that, because I've noticed this from working just in radio, right? So all the
Yeah.
spiritual characters, if they weren't following the medium, you took stuff from me, and this is happening over here, and I'm like, yo, guys, we're like adults doing adult stuff. Like this isn't to make money per se; it's to help everything, and you're getting like a giant jump on life where you wouldn't get that anywhere else. And they couldn't see past it most of the time. They'd be like,
Mhm.
yeah, but it's about me, and it's like, no, it's not really about you. Is the
Yeah.
topic really about you? Right? Like if you're doing spirituality, like yeah, I'm going to teach you meditation, and I'm going to show you this. You're teaching, you're showing. If it's about you and your ego, it's a terrible show, right?
Sure.
Like my stuff is just my story. This is why if you feel threatened by it ever, or if people feel weird by it, it's like, look, man, I'm just telling my story. I'm not trying to sell the world a new thing,
Hmm.
Hmm.
right? Like I'm just here doing that. I'm a musician guy. I'm a hip hop artist, and that's what I did for 20 years.
Mm.
To come out and talk like this is crazy, right? My
Yeah.
Twitter went from 14,000. I had 14,000 people. I think there's 2,000 people on there now.
Mm.
Like everyone turned on me when I did this.
Mm.
So, not to mention, Aaron and I discussed how many people recently unfriended us and got crazy. And oh my God, I can't be part of this. It's like we're doing something that pertains to the opposite of separation, yet you're
Mhm.
creating separation. So you're not really seeing what's happening in the program because you're too lost
Mm.
within the ego, right?
Mm.
I'll unfriend this one. I'll smash this button. Does anyone really give a shit anymore? Right? If you do, you have a problem.
Yep.
Right? You're just taking out your latent aggressions on people that you don't even know these people most of the time. right? Well, Frank from the Bronx, fuck this guy and his stupid profile, right? I'll show him the truth. He doesn't know. It's like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
Everybody just calm down. Work together, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this before too, because you guys
Yeah.
have an excellent plan, by the way. I'm just throwing
Thanks.
stuff, kind of shit
Do
on
it.
the wall and seeing what sticks.
Let's do it. Throw some
But
shit around
I
it.
was thinking about
Let's
naked
be
yoga
gorillas.
before, and then I thought, okay,
Yeah.
my balls would cause the worst problems in naked yoga. I just can't see how that
That is a
stuff
fair
works,
consideration,
and
my
it works
friend.
sanitary in a proper way that doesn't freak. Listen, I sweat like a beast, right? I start holding some yoga pose and start hanging it, and like it's just awkward. It's connected and attached to the wall, like those fucking things you used to get for 25 cents in a little. Let me put a quarter in and get this. It's like a giant hand, and you fucking stick it to the wall, but you
Stick it
hold
to
it on
the
because like
wall.
Spider-Man shooting his right, and then it brings you back the
Yeah.
paperclip or something. That's what my
Yeah.
balls are like, and I don't mean to talk like that, but I do because
I
I want
appreciate it.
I want to walk around naked. Like I'm
Right.
that guy, right? Like
Yeah.
you've heard the stories. I'll just take my shit off and go sit outside.
Yeah.
But there's things that you don't do for a reason.
Right.
For a reason, right? And then I'm kind of curious to how that works with other people because I would never really ask anyone. I haven't had anyone that's ever said, "Well, I do naked yoga all the time, and
No doubt.
apparently my balls don't stick to the floor. I use powder on my mat or something." I don't know what the fuck
You
they're
use
doing.
powder on them.
I used powder on my mat. He said, "No, it's a great." I know exactly what you're thinking, man. So it's like, all right, so you got to meet with some guys to do this. But dude, what do we all have? Like, is it Gold Bond? Do I need to get some Gold Bond powder? I just like
That's what
fill
I'm
me in, fill
saying.
me in on the details here because I get that we're all like loving each other, we're being open to each other's nude expression, we're just being ourselves, not perverted. It's great. I don't need to be doing downward dog facing away from the camera though. That's not a good idea, probably.
Dude, I hear the pulling of my private parts and then the blink and you're like, "Oh, that wasn't good." Right? Like I'm just curious.
Could you imagine? Hold on, let's hypothetically go through this. You're holding the pose, something snaps, right? And everything starts to shrivel. And you're just holding the pose. It just is what it is. It's human anatomy. But like just that
All
whole
right, so
dynamic. It's so funny.
I log in, right? And I'm like, "Hey teacher, what's going on?" And I'm standing there naked and I powdered my balls before I got there, right? So I have this big
Yeah.
white powder spot right in my groin, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're supposed to do? Clap
Yeah.
our hands together. Let's get busy, bro. Like, and, I don't
All
know.
you have
It's
on
just
is a
funny stuff, man.
headband. You just
Yeah,
have a
feel free.
headband and your hands are covered in talcum powder.
Oh, that's so funny. People
Dude,
think because we do spiritual stuff that we can't joke, and we got some of the best jokers here, man. This is so much fun. I love you guys so much.
yeah, man. For sure, because
Uh,
it's real shit. Like Frank's got awesome stories. I've quoted him on this like the first time we talked. Well, like because I re-listened to the clip several times when I heard it first, and I think I almost pissed myself laughing so hard because Frank was okay. I'm trying to remember the context. It was one of the times I think you were under or after coming off or something or whatever, and you knew you wanted to go be in the sun. You knew to be in the sun, so you're out there naked in the sun, and you're like yelling and screaming at something or something. Your grandpa
Yeah.
comes out and he's like, "What the fuck you doing? Get inside!" You're like, "Yo, old man, you don't even know what's happening." Right? And you're just out there naked doing your thing, man. And you get it. Like you're connecting with the DNA of the sun, like
Yeah,
the
yo.
body's doing things it needs, connecting the earth, right? But it's like to other people, it seems crazy. And it's so funny the way you responded, man. But then you did. You're like, oh shit. And then you got corrected, right? Like later. So there's more dynamic there. And then like raw or somebody corrects you and says, "Yo, what'd your grandpa tell you?" And you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, sorry." Or like, what if your grandma sees you out here? Like, oh shit, and then you get inside.
I had a buddy once that he's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
loaded and his
He's
wife
like,
keeps calling him
so
over and
Ra
over again.
appeared to me.
Go ahead, Frank.
No,
I think we got a little delay, but go ahead.
No. Finish. Go ahead.
oh no, it was just kind of like the same thing. His wife kept calling him over and over and over, and finally he like opens up his phone and just screams into it, "Darcy, I don't think you understand. I'm on a mission from God, and I'm not coming home until I'm finished." And then he breaks his phone in half and throws it.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to understand. Where did that come from? Or like, why did he
It's
say
just
that?
like him when he was just because he was he's all loaded and he's on when he's on
Oh,
a trip
oh,
and his
oh,
phone just
oh,
keeps ringing and keeps ringing and keeps ringing and it's
oh,
his
I
wife the
got
whole
it.
time and
Yeah,
finally he's just like I'm on a mission from God and I'm not coming home until I'm
dude,
dead.
dude. I bet you. You know what's so funny? I feel like that's what I would have said if I actually did entheogens was on trip like during while I was married, which I said to her I wouldn't do. And so if I had though, that's the response I probably would have had in that moment. It would have probably been verbatim and just busted my phone. Like, woman, I will be home when I'm done on my experience with God. They're not demonic. I'll be back later,
Oh man, that is so funny.
dude.
Dude,
Funny shit, dude.
you snap the night before I drank ayahuasca in the basement, and then Ra came through a portal, and there's a whole incident that occurred. One of the light beings like
Yeah.
pierced me to. It was like they gave me a giant needle, but when I turned to look, it was a spear, and he like put it through me, and I was like, "Yo, what the?" And I had like a really rough moment. And then when I met him, he came through the portal. I almost had a heart attack and died. Like literally, I was gonna die.
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
wouldn't come out. So the next day, I was sitting in the sun. I was so like, I've had it with this place. I ripped my clothes off and I sit down. Boom. Look at the sun. Ross shows up and he's like, "Oh, we're not having a problem today, are we?" And then I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I'm start bitching to him. And then my
Yeah,
grandfather comes out. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Put some clothes on." So I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"You don't even know, old man." I go back in that house. And he goes, "You put some clothes on before you scare your grandmother."
I love that that's your real life, Frank, and it's just so fucking hilarious because I know you and I love you and it's awesome. Like it's not even just a crazy story; it's crazy to other people. I may go, "What?" But like that's fucking so funny.
You gotta have the humor in it, or else
Yeah, man.
what else we got, right?
Especially when you're going through crazy transitions, man. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You're trying to figure out your emotions. You're trying to figure out, all this new information or understanding or understanding. Like, fuck, man. Like, gotta have grace for people to freak out and not be okay. Like, not everybody has to be on point all the time. Like, and really just be yourself all the time. You win, and that's being open and honest and working through things. Learning how to learn the tools to carry your own load in a sense, just to learn how to do the things that help regularly cleanse your life and, help keep you balanced or work with it and work with other people and just interactions we find. I mean, you and I bounce off or just from hearing each other's interactions or stories or me and Zach do on the show and different people on the show, hearing how people engage things internally in their own worlds is fascinating. Gives me awesome ideas for my own meditations, my own visualizations, my own engagements beyond just, right here in this conversation, but also right here in this conversation.
Fuck yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun,
Yo,
dun.
man, so earlier I was in so much pain. I woke up and I did the yard next door today, and I couldn't move. And then I was like meandering or whatever around, and I heard your
Yeah.
voices. I read
Mm.
everyone's texts and everything, and I was like, "Oh, this is great. I can't move. I can't breathe. I don't know what to do." And then I heard you. The music stopped, and you guys started talking. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, I feel pretty good right now. I think I'm gonna eat some mushrooms." And then I just ate the bag. I
But so
was
you're
just
saying you
like,
heard me?
"What?"
Wait, hold on. You heard me say that?
You guys were just talking, and I
Okay,
got up. I
gotcha.
was like, "Oh," and then I ate the whole bag. I
Yeah,
was just like, "Yo, I'm eating this. I don't care.
yeah, yeah,
I'll be all right." And I feel, whew, so just the sounds of your voices interacting with one
mm,
another, like, um, and naturally, you were talking my name a few times and everything, so the energy started to shift towards me. Boom! I feel like I just had a good day at work. I was dead
yeah,
before. If you guys would have saw me, you would have been like, "What's wrong with Frank? Is he gonna make
yeah,
it?" And I would have been like, "No, I don't understand." Last night, I
yeah,
realized something, that when you eat mushrooms and you're like, "I want to see aliens," you got to do like internal meditation that night, and you got to walk through your own hell, right? When
yeah,
you go in and you're like, "Yo, I'm gonna go tonight. I'm gonna go into my own hell and I'm gonna smash it. I'm gonna clear everything out." That's when you meet the aliens.
yeah,
It flips it on you. It's like your intention. "Oh, let's see aliens tonight." It's like, "No, tonight you're gonna do work." And it's like, "Oh, let's do some work tonight." It's like, "No, you did enough work. Let's show you some aliens." That's what I noticed been going on because I've been eating a little bit
Yeah.
every single night,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
the first thought that pops out, you know, so this is crazy. This is what they're telling me. They're like,
Mm.
you guys love and light, love and light, love and light. And I'm like, yeah, but we get the darkness, right? I'm like, but I trust
Mm.
you, Mushroom. Mushroom, I trust you. You've never done me
Mm.
wrong. Boom, go into the experience. It was the most untrusting experience I've ever had in my life. Couldn't trust anything.
Wow.
No, you think you
Yeah.
could trust me? They said at the end of the experience, though, as I went through this crazy dynamic of, well, I guess I can't trust no one but myself. They were like, bingo, there you go again. And I'm
Wow.
like, I go, you guys are really making it uh, uh, difficult to want to do anything or be anything. They're like, check this out. Both sides of the equation right now, right, are they were using the old Indian analogy, but I think
Mm.
they changed it where like both wings are from the same bird.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
were like your love and light people are the same people that are pulling the strings on the other end. So anything you're
Mm-hmm.
hearing, if it's not coming directly from you and
Mm.
something that you resonate with, it's not there's
Yeah.
like a false love light agenda thing happening. And they were dangling shit in front of me and be like, right, like I got it over here. And I'm like, no, back up. Because I thought I was comfortable here and then I thought I was trusting with you. And then you're doing this to me. So I don't want no part of that. And then I'd go and get comfortable again. And then boom, it would
Yeah.
happen again and again and again. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? They're like, your love and light community is part of it. A slice of it is also part of the other puppetry arm
Yeah.
that's handing down all the bullshit. So they're like, watch yourselves because this is really going to hit the fan. I'm like, I thought it hit the fan already. They're like, no, you've been hanging out. You've been helping your neighbor next door. So I talk a lot of shit, right? So they're like,
Mm.
I eat the mushrooms and they go, you know that yard next door that everyone hates and everyone hates the guy next door? I'm like, yeah, he won't fix his yard. It's been 20 years. Like it's creating mosquitoes and rats and
Yeah.
mice and
Yeah.
like it's terrible, right? So
Yeah.
they were like, well, guess what? And I'm like, oh, you guys serious?
Go clean
They're
that
like,
shit, bro.
your awareness makes it your responsibility. And I'm like, oh, I can't go on the guy's
Mm.
property, right? The fucking guy
Mm.
comes out and he's like looking at the yard, and I'm like, hey man, you gonna clean this? You gonna clean this fucking shit? 20 years? You're killing me. I can't be out here after 3 o'clock. So
Yeah.
he goes,
Proper.
no,
Proper. What was it? Proper Bronx normal day dialogue. Hey
yeah.
man.
So
Hey, what's up, man? You
hey
gonna clean this
man,
shit?
you gonna clean up this shit, right? So he
Yeah.
goes, no, I'm not gonna do it. So I go, can I do it? And he goes,
Yeah.
well, yeah, if you want to, do whatever the fuck you want to do. So I go, oh, anything I want to do. So I ordered a weed whacker
Yeah.
and then 20 years of temperament, right? And then I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna kill everything in that yard. And it was the worst idea to say that because as I'm eating the mushrooms, they're like, no, there's the whole it's a biological unit, that yard.
Yeah.
It's a half acre of crazy.
Yeah.
So I go, well, I don't want to poison anyone. And boom, I see the sun dancing, the rays coming down. I'm like, I just want to dance. I don't know what this is all about, and I want to tell my
Yeah.
ancestors this is just like me on stage. I just want to see my
Yeah.
ancestors. I want you to come out here and rock it with me as I ground into the light. I'm grounding into Mother Earth. I'm the rainbow bridge that connects the whole shit together. And you motherfuckers aren't junk DNA. You are me. So come on out here and let's start the dance. And they fucking dude, I was tripping so hard the dance occurred. I was
Yeah.
dancing and locking the energy in on the whole like this whole area. So I'm
Yeah.
like, and I just kept ranting that, and I am love, but I'm also compassion, and I'm also can help if you let me help, right?
Yeah.
So then I was saying all these fucking things, and I get up today after doing this incredible dance with my ancestors, and there's no animals in the yard, right? There's giant raccoons in it. There was nothing in there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's kind of during the day and everything. I don't want to murder nothing. So if I can have the strength and energy and I start weed whacking. I go, I took out this whole area. Not one fucking neighbor even comes out and looks and says, hey, who's the guy out there finally
Yeah.
cleaning this? And I
Yeah.
look up and the neighbor's looking at me over the fence, like the guy from Home Improvement.
Uh-huh.
right? The guy that he just looks
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the fence,
Wilson.
and I
Wilson.
just see Wilson, and I
Yeah.
look up and he goes, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I go,
Mm.
he goes, "You working?" I go, "Nah, I live next door and I can't fucking take it no more." And he goes, "Are you allowed to do what you're doing right now?" And I go, "Yeah, I got his permission before." He goes, "I'm getting my sawzall. I'm coming right over." And he fucking
Cool,
jumps this
man.
giant 6-foot fence, brings all these saw parts. We took 3 trees down, trees,
Yeah.
with a fucking sawzall. That was his job. And then I had the weed whacker, and we just this place. I sent you a picture of what it looked like. We had to
Yeah, I
pile
saw it.
everything
Yeah,
up
yeah.
because
I'm
I
pulling
don't
up right
have a
now.
place to put the junk.
Yeah.
But all I kept hearing was ayahuasca in my head, the mushrooms telling me, you see, when you plan ahead and you stop using things like kill the insects and murder them, right? And then all of a sudden you have
Yeah.
insects everywhere. Like it becomes a war of attrition with these things. You can't get rid of them. They're fucking everywhere. Well, has anyone
Yeah.
tried feeding them outside around the borders of whatever, and then they won't touch anyone's stuff? Like when you sit at the table as the all, you have to recognize the all pattern. So there's raccoons in there. Yeah, they need a place to live. Fortunately, we also have the Bronx Zoo and Pelham Parkway over here. Complete area for them to be in the backyards in the main city area is really not good because the guy down the block lost 9 cats. And God forbid, low KG, I have to come here with Paula and live in my grandparents' home and take it over. I have 12 cats. I cannot have them die because then what do I have to do? Go out and start taking my spear and raccoons? Like that's not what I didn't come here to kill animals. Like
Right.
I didn't come here to like when the kittens were born in the backyard, my all my kittens, they weren't mine at first, and the lady was like, "Oh, give them to me, we'll drown them." "Oh, I'll do it." And I'm like, "What did you just fucking say to me?" And she was like, "We'll do it. Don't just give them." And I'm like, "Hey, listen, bitch, I didn't come here to kill through dimensions from the
Yeah.
highest frequency to kill kittens. You're out of your
Right.
fucking mind." I was like, "Get out of my yard." And she was very lovely woman, but she was like, "You got to do
Mm.
what you got to do." So growing up this way, you begun to think this way. Like, well, I'll just fucking kill them all. I'll get a gun and I'll go in the backyard and I will fucking shoot them. But I'm not upstate New York. I'm in the Bronx. See, right? So you
Mm.
can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I go, do you want to shoot one of those things and then go back there and deal with the carcass? Is that something you want to do? Did you come here through dimensions to do that? And I'm like, no, I actually didn't. I
Mm.
didn't. I didn't do that at all. And they're like, you want the cats to come back? Get rid of the raccoons. Don't give them a place to live. Don't feed them. They'll leave, and the cats will come back. That pile is like a 20 by 20. Like it's the most. It's higher than me, and it's about 20 feet in directions. And I go, this is, and there's a side yard that you don't see, and around the edges of the
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
naturally, it's just one shot. And those were overgrown. So that was all done today. So I've never worked like that in my life. And then everyone started. My mother came out, my grandfather came out. She was getting waters, it was coffee. We smoked weed. Dude, I smoked chilled and smoked weed with
Yeah.
everyone. I'm like,
Cool,
hey, what do you
man.
do? He's like, I'm a retired fireman. I go, you
Wow.
can't enjoy your retirement. Why? And he goes, because I can't be in this fucking backyard with the mosquitoes and bugs. And this is a story metaphorically will work across the board.
Yeah.
And I go,
Absolutely.
what do you mean? He goes, the guy next door chopped the cherry tree top down and threw it in the middle of the yard, which started some of this nonsense. But he's
Uh-huh.
not here today. So I go, so he's angry too. He goes, yeah. When the house was burning, we were kind of like, fuck those people. And I'm like, no, no, it's not fuck those people. I said, they went through what they went through, and now we're here to help. Think of yourself as the cleanup crew. There's these guys in DC Comics. Every time Superman punches someone through a building, this crew of guys shows up to clean the place. Right? They're like, look,
Yeah.
we'll make it all right, and they're justified. They're put out there by the government to just help because this is the kind of shit that goes on in that world. You can't do nothing about it, right? So
Right.
I'm looking at this going, you're telling me nobody here? There's 8 houses connected to this yard, 8. So I go, nobody, and they're like, nope. The lady across, directly across, I fucking hate this guy screaming. So I'm going, wow, there's pure hatred. Now my neighbor on the other side's like, I would just pay someone to do it, but 2 people have told us we wouldn't even touch that. And I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
that's weird that you would not take $1,000 to go out there and work for a day. Right? I
Right.
did this with there was 3 or 4 of us. So Now she hates him. She's like, yeah, I fucking hate that guy. I wish he would die. So I'm like, wait, wish he would die. I fucking, your house is burning. We're clapping. Like, I'm bugging out to these people's reactions. So I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, so you hate him that much, huh? So I've called the guy some names, but I talk right to his face. I'm like, you're a real piece of trash. You got to get back there and clean it up. The shrooms
Yeah.
go, hey, why don't you help him? Maybe there's a problem. I go, well, he's a kind of a strapping gentleman. You would think he could just go back. Mind you, there's two lawnmowers that don't work in the middle of that pile. Um,
Mm,
and we just piled shit on top of it. So I said,
yeah.
you know what? Hey man, I lost my house when I was a kid to fire. I lost everything, and I had the big house on the block, and the whole fucking thing burned to the ground. So I know how that feels. So I feel bad, man. I love you, bro. Don't touch me. He tried to like give me a hug. I said, don't fucking touch me. I love you, man. I
Yeah.
stopped touching dirty people and spiritually
Sure.
dirty
Yeah.
people
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
their shit jump wants to just fucking. If it
Yep.
was up to him, he would just hug me and rub his
Yeah.
demon all over me, and I'm like, nah, you get the fuck out of here with that. However, I love you. And I need your permission to go back there and do this. And he was like, you
Yeah.
have my permission. You're a good man. Your grandfather will then be able to sit out. You don't have to tell me how grandpa could sit out in the backyard. That's what I came here to tell you. My grandfather
Mm,
can't enjoy the last years of his fucking life because there's mosquitoes and monsters that live in this fucking place.
yeah.
Every other house is like a $600,000 home. So I'm like, you're destroying the environment, literally. One guy just destroying an entire half block by himself just by not doing that. And I'm like, we're doing this wrong, guys. Let's not hug him, but spiritually say, we got you, bro. Can we do it?
Mm,
And he was like, please, man, I can't. So the guy in the back goes, yeah, I saw him one day. He took the lawnmower, he started it. He went 3 times over one patch and then just walked away, threw his hands up like, fuck this. I'm like, yeah, but this is 20 years of stuff. And then I'm like, let's not be mean to him. So the guy came out, he was looking, he was like, oh my God, this is amazing what you guys did. I appreciate it. You can do whatever you want back here. So I go, okay,
cool.
so is it worth saying, fuck you, die, burn the house to the ground?
Right.
This guy is ruining the community. We should kill him. I wish he would die. And I mean, you got to hear these people here. They're
Yeah.
very. I'm the calm one,
Yeah.
right? So I'm the calm one here. Everyone else is like, fuck it, fucking arrest him. Just drag him out of the house and fucking kill him. And I'm like, let's hit him with some love buckets,
Hmm.
right? Right? His
Hmm.
fucking house burnt down. He lost everything. Let's just, oh, but if you clean it, he's going to mess it up again. No, I'll maintain it weekly or every 2 weeks. I'll
Hmm.
come and I'll do it. And the guy's like, I'll do it with you. His other guy's like, oh, he's got the big saw. He's going to work on the big tree. I'm like, this is amazing. See what happens in 1 second or a couple of strokes of that fucking engine on the electric weed whacker got everyone's attention. So the guy was like, my wife said, there's someone in there with a weed whacker. Oh my God. And he goes, I'm going to check. So there's 5 men sitting in windows at night drinking beers going, I wish he would just let me in that yard. But did anyone ask? Did anyone say, you know
Hmm.
what? I'll fucking do it. Did anyone say that? It's been 20
Right.
years,
Right.
right? And then you're all this anger and this frustration and this rage. And what do we got? It's like a backyard of black goo, right? It just gets worse. Well, you
Yeah.
fucking keep yelling, I hate you across it. What do you think's going to happen? Everybody's seen Ghostbusters too. When they get the goo angry and it
Yeah.
reacts angrily, that's what it does. So if the guy's got a demon and it starts with a little problem and they got marital issues and this and that, then the people downstairs they get a flood. Fuck this guy, get their heat on. Fuck this guy. Then across, I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot, but I don't
No,
really
you're
care
good.
tonight. So the
Yeah.
then the guy across the street's like, yeah, you know what? I saw those people there, and fuck those people. And no one had just said, hey man, give me a couple hours in your yard. I'll do this with you. Or you don't even need to
Right.
be here. Get out of here. I'll do it. So then I
Right.
said, now how are we getting that pile out of the yard? 'Cause I can't lift and bend and do all that other extra shit. And then
Yeah.
they were like, well, I would gladly give 300 minimum to this. Was the guy came right up to me. He said, I'd give you $300 if we all chipped in and did this. And I went, I'll start a
Cool.
fucking GoFundMe on this block
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
instantly. So the girl from next door, the lady who's in the middle of a divorce and all this, sees what we're doing and goes, I can't believe you guys did this. And she's the one that's always throwing hash at people. She goes, yo, if you guys need any money to clean that big pile up back there, we'll try to get someone with the construction company and just pull up a dumpster and have them
Fuck yeah.
fucking pull it out of here. So I'm like,
Awesome.
oh, so just like that, an entire guys, there's got to be 20 houses around me. We're all on top of each other,
Yeah.
and this one guy had the grass section. One guy,
Yeah.
one fucking guy has the grass section, and it was
Yeah.
destroyed, and everyone was just shitting on it, making it an evil, like an evil forest of
Yeah.
nightmares and raw and mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Now it's all gone in one flash of a, I would say less than a week for me to do my part to just give in, but to pick up the hammer and go to it in 24 hours. There's I don't I there was no problem with ants today. There was no problems with any of the. It was like they all took a
Mm.
holiday, and then all robins came and landed in the yard on the fresh soil and
Wow.
ate for hours. And we were just all standing outside smoking weed. And I can't even fucking believe this is happening. The guy's looking at me, go, right? I can't fucking believe it either. You got to hear how we talk. We sound like a sitcom. And my mother's out there serving food. You guys are fucking awesome. Look what
Dude,
the
you
fuck you
got to do
did.
Frank. Frank, one of your segments could be hanging out with Frank, and you just do your day, man. Like really,
Yeah,
it
the
could be
crazy
just like
shit.
Frank through the day. Because they just see that that's the backside of your life, and that's kind of insider like vlog shit. Not everybody's gonna want to see that, but I'd fucking watch that shit. Really, I would go out of my way to just tune in and watch you just for an hour of your day. All right, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna meditate now. This is kind of what I do. Whatever, you're on video. So then I'm like, all right, you gotta help my mom. Keep the phone on you. Like I'm helping. You're helping your mom. Put it on the counter while you and your mom are having a conversation and shit.
Yeah, you guys would be quite shocked at the lives we live. And then you're like, I thought you guys were the most spiritual. I'm like, spiritual doesn't mean I can't say
That's what I'm
motherfucker,
saying.
motherfucker.
I know, Frank. It puts like honestly, this is a genius fucking creative idea for honestly the channel and the things that we're bringing because it's really you being authentic. Because what you just presented in the last half an hour was so beautifully authentic of a human being, no matter what culture you're born into, right? You're starting to
Yeah,
see
and
the
we're all
beauty and the
different here.
truth. Right, man, but you're seeing the beauties, the same universal truths, right? Because it's expanding your understanding inwards among your own cultural expression, and whatever comes into your awareness is your responsibility, right? Like
Yeah.
as Frank Castle said, man, like that. So that because
You
and here's
want to
the other
be on
thing,
the Avengers and you want to be a superhero and you want to be on a fucking team, but you're not willing to do team shit. As soon
yeah.
as it's like, oh, clean the yard yourself, ah, fuck this guy. And you can't do
My
that no more.
Maya
You got to
says,
be like, hey, man, can I help you?
Maya says, nice story. I've done crazy shit cleaning in people's houses and yard, transforming ugliness into beauty. Feels great.
It's the best. Oh, so this was my final note on today because it really was. I'm tripping balls. So for me to
Do it, man.
explain, I might
Please
be
do it.
off.
Frank, this is super beautiful. You being in the state and having the freedom to express in this dynamic. I love these conversations when you and I have them. Please,
Oh
man,
yeah,
please
yeah,
just
for sure.
be you and express, man. Let it flow.
So it's like everything from the dance on mushrooms to my ancestors the night before that my mother was like, what are you doing out there with your arms up and digging around? I'm like, I'm feeling it live, baby. Right. And you're just working it from that to the end. I've never felt better. So you're looking
Mm,
at 24 hours and I'm in pain that I can't, the pain's still there. My knees, my back, my neck, they're fucking,
mm.
my hands are shaking, but I don't care. I've never felt better. My being in the sun, I was covered head to toe, so just my little dome was out. So I'm really face sunburned and then white everywhere else. But I don't remember feeling this good. I remember feeling this good. I'll tell you when I was in high school and I was a freshman, and they were like, go out on the football field, right? You're gonna go
Mm.
early to do drills in the grass, the fresh cut grass, and the smell is the first 300-pound kid lands on top of you and shoves your fucking face into it, and you're just like, I love this game. I love this game because I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna fucking smash you. And then I
Yeah.
just the sun's hot, it's on me, I'm supercharged, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Except
Yeah.
now I'm that internally, right?
Mm.
Yeah, to the sun and the power. Like I think people are
Yeah.
starting to come around. Like we need to be in the sun
Yeah.
working and gardening and
Yeah,
then
for
when it was
sure.
over, so the guy says to me, "Hey, man, you should throw your hat in the ring and try to buy this place before this guy does anything. Maybe you
Yeah.
get it really, really cheap because having
Mm.
someone like you here would be just a pleasure." And I go, "Well, I've lived here my whole life. I just live in the other house." And he goes, "Yeah, you need to live right there." So it was just a weird moment
Yeah,
because I was like,
interesting.
yo, my wife, Paula, my life
Yeah.
mate, will with a quarter of what's there on that property feed the entire block all year long.
Oh,
You know
dude,
how Paula is,
Frank.
dude. She can
Yeah,
grow
man.
anything.
And
I
then we
want
could
to
have a
get her.
segment. We could have a segment with Paula, how she's setting all that shit up to feed people or feed cats and do whatever she's doing. Like,
But
really,
the
man.
outcome to this is to do that, right? Like the community gardens. I was saying this word today,
Yeah.
guerrilla gardening. You guys get that?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we
Totally.
like that." And I go, "Yeah, a fucking room full of gorillas would love that." Right?
Yeah.
I got a 300-pound retired fireman, giant Iraqi guy, a super duper Italian guy, a Jewish guy next door, and
Yeah.
everyone's just like, "Ga ga ga ga." It's like the team's building instantly. Oh, look how many of
Yeah.
us were here the whole time, and we could just do this. And I'm like,
See,
oh shit, it's happening, isn't it? And they're like, well, you did the dance, right? You did
mm-hmm.
the magic.
Yeah.
You you saged, you said your blessings, you were polite, right? And I go, yeah, but it's always been no our whole lives. It's
Yeah.
always been no, right? It's
Yeah.
always like you get there with the best of intention. No,
Yep.
I get here, I got all my paperwork, everything. No,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they're like, that shit's changing right now. The answer
Mm.
is going to be yes. You just got to
Dude.
relearn how to do it.
Yeah, and I was telling Angela, I said at this time's different. No more like because with my dynamic right now with my job that I'm in, it's like if this thing picks up or my heart's just whatever. I'm in the past or traditional teacher roles or worlds or dynamics or paradigms like in my own life cycles at times I have benefited in the ways that you're supposed to or whatever from when that shit you have to give up everything, right? You let go of the monkey bar before you have another one to grab onto, and it's pitch black, or it's like it's pretty vague, or whatever, right? You don't know what you're gonna grab. So,
Yeah, the leap
and
of
that's
faith, it's so
yeah,
important.
it's true. It's true. That's always true on a base level, but I live my life every day in that way, very trying to be in tune with myself and the flow of my life and the interactions and the thought process. I mean, just like my all of it,
Yeah.
so there's still moments of faith for sure at times, but on what you were saying, where things are going to be saying, where things are going to be yes this time, I just feel it's different. There's going to be a monkey bar. We're just in a time of yes, 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 and then even if that's closing my eyes and grabbing it, and it's an internal yes, it's that way inside of me. And you had that too. We've been talking about this. We know things are good. This is different. The world's going crazy around us. We're literally creating the new world through our experiences, like you just beautifully laid out for the last half an hour, right? Beautifully, of your own life experiences where you chose. And like, listen to this additional layer. There's so many layers here, Frank, with you. You're such a wonderful storyteller, Frank, and a genuine human being. I've told multiple people this. Like, you're one of my favorite human beings on this planet. Really.
Oh man, I
Like,
love you. I love both of you guys. You guys are great. And Aaron, you know me, man, on a personal level. You know what's up.
yeah,
And we
man.
go over it in fucking detail. And we laugh. I've cried.
Hmm.
It's just the old ways really are going. And you got to get back out there and get your hands in the mud. You got to kind of rub it on you and be like, I'm ready, man. Yo, I didn't even get one mosquito bite. Like nothing.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like fucking shocked, right? But are you? Why would you be shocked? You're the all. You
Right.
represented if we're on Earth and the Earth is the living library, that is the Bronx's living library offering to the great library,
Hey,
right?
yo. Yeah, that's right.
You know, I'm
Yep.
only 2 miles from the Bronx Zoo, Botanical Gardens, so they're like you're surrounded by it, but yet you would come home and live next to it and let it
Yeah.
deceive you and pull you in. But this is also a training exercise. It's a
Mhm.
university. So it couldn't have worked or happened any other way until now, right?
Yeah.
As you can tell, it never worked. Nothing ever worked. Bah, 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 bah. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, in one moment of just, I really love this place, and I wish everyone could just come out and bring their kids and have a good time and sit out by the you can't see it, but my yard has a giant pool and a big so you can't enjoy none of it.
Mm.
So you would sit
Yeah.
around and sit and shit and not clean it, right? Poo containers,
Yeah.
right? That's the classic, don't be a poo
Yeah. Yeah.
container.
Yeah.
And some people can't help it. So the guy that we're like, I hope you die, he was looking at the problem 20 years ago going, I can't do it. I try, like I bring the lawnmower out and I go 3 times and then I look at it and go, oh, I'm broken. Now, if we would have known that and just went out there and were nice and shit, maybe we could have done it. But he had a hard shell back then. His house just burnt down now, and people are being nice. So there's a different bonding experience to the whole process, and your awareness of it is key.
Yeah.
Gives you the responsibility factor. Those that are alive with consciousness will look you in the eye, and you'll go, "I feel you, man. I don't think you'll do me wrong." And it's like, "Nah, I'm not here
Right.
to do you wrong. I'm not here to burn your fucking backyard down. I'm here to
Hmm.
just say, hey, man, we got to make it a better everything for everyone."
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then this lesson is just, it's echoing in my fucking head, dude. It's a
Hmm.
fully successful thing. And then he's like, well, who's going to upkeep it? I said, I just bought all the equipment. I love being naked in the sun. Now I won't garden um, naked, but I won't use those machines naked, but I will put a loincloth on, right,
Yeah.
and a pair of boots and just go out there in the sun and do it every two
Yeah.
weeks. Fuck yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
Frank, what
man.
are you doing better in the pandemic? Right? You service to others, service to self. What are you doing? You're
Yeah.
looking right at it and going, nah, fuck that. I don't wanna. I don't wanna. But then you got mosquitoes. So like, do you wanna? Oh yes, I want to. Yes, I want to. So it's just reviewing it from a different perspective. All of a
When
sudden,
also
ta-da!
also having all the additional fruit, not just like, oh, I don't want mosquitoes, but look at the community that it brought together. That you literally flowered or watered, and by tending a garden, so literal analogy, right, really close overlap. But by you actually doing that, you actually tended that, and you helped that to flower inside of the people. They would have never thought to offer money. They never would have thought to be like, hey, maybe you should get this house. You should live there. Hey, maybe we'd love to do
This is
gardening. You did
another
that.
thing, Aaron. Something wonderful's happening
Yeah,
in the
dude,
Bronx. I'm
please
going to tell
tell
you.
me.
So
Okay.
you're going to love this because this is
Okay.
kind of more on my softer side.
All right.
So the bumblebee population here is booming, right? So
Cool.
somebody had, I
Yeah.
saw it in the thing, let's be frank. And I'm like, I have buttons that say like, save the bees or whatever, or you're unbelievable and shit like that. I just got them and put them down. The bees are all out.
Wow.
And then the, do you guys have the glow bugs at night? Like they fly around and
No,
they like
man, I've never seen
flash
them. I
their,
want to see them. I want to see them so bad.
we have them everywhere. So they made a
Cool.
comeback. There were none for
Wow.
years. You'd see
Yeah.
one glow, the glow flies or whatever.
Yeah.
I loved them as kids. We used to put them in jars and run around. It would light up, and it was just fun. They're all of a sudden back, and they're everywhere, and they're fucking wonderful. So we can get it back. Paula says this all the time. You get it all back, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it back. You're gonna get back the time, the investment, the whatever, the pain, the sorrow, the tear, the this, the that. It's not always a monetary value, but spiritually, monetarily, you're gonna get it back. You just gotta know when to insert and when to pull back. The perfect balance, perhaps.
Yeah.
Find that rhythm with it. We talked about this once before, right? It's like a sine, cosine, like it's the wave, and
Sine
then there's
wave.
the
Yeah.
line through the wave, right?
Yeah.
So are you gonna go with the dips like that was the roller coaster was my whole life.
Yeah.
Now I'm learning to just like the snake. Here's another thing that's
Mm.
been going on. I'm gonna tell you something interesting. Um,
Please
so last night I used snakes for the first time to clear my space.
tell
I
me.
have
Really,
like
this is super synchronistic. Please tell me. Yeah.
in a past life or in a lifetime in whatever now moment I was like a cobra, not a
Hmm.
man, not a snake man, but a cobra, and Paula was the other cobra. And I said, you know, not every snake could be bad. Like you can't judge it like bad or good. You can just realize what it is and what it can do. But you're connecting to all these things, but you're like leaving out the snakes because they crawl on the bellies, right? Jesus and all that. The Christianity's got you believing that the
Yeah, that
demon and
stigma or nuance.
all
Yeah.
right. So with that, I was like, yeah, fuck the snake, But no. Snake men are not the snake, right? You should know better, Frank.
Mm.
Ayahuasca this. And I'm like, can I speak to
Mm.
the mother snake? Oh, let me show you. Boom. Let me speak to the mother arachnoid. Right? We're having some problems with the underlings. Let's call in mother. and see how.
Mm.
So I started doing this, and I realized there's nothing wrong with the snake. The snake man is an asshole. Yeah, a snake itself has this whole thing that it does. So I started having that weird movement in my body. It felt like they were coming out of me one at a time. They were giant. And I said, you know what? Do your fucking job. I love you guys. Get to work, clear the space. And as I'm doing this, they're running through, and I'm watching them collect things, which freaked me out because I'm going to go out there in a minute just to have to smoke a little. But
Yeah.
it's dark back there. It's scary. You're in the Bronx,
Yeah.
right? And I'm watching them tear things up, and I'm going, ooh, this is really good. I should have been doing this shit from day one. They're like, well, you're once again, even you were overshadowed by this fear of
Yeah.
thinking the reptilians are all evil. And I go, I knew you guys were playing a game. You were tripping so hard. So I go,
Yeah.
what reptilians? And they're like, no,
Uh-huh.
it's just reptilians in general. So I go, no, I know what you mean. Which ones? Right. So I go,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me what's going on. And they said, well, a whole bunch like of groups within the main Draco, whatever
Yeah.
community. Those are the ones that eat babies and sacrifice. All turned to the light, felt love for the first time to a human.
Mm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? So I witnessed them going through, feel like literally feeling that what we feel, but on such an
Mm.
advanced level that they made the shift. They're a
Wow.
lot higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do more as the creators. It's not I could do more than you kind of thing. They already do and are a lot, but they cannot do certain things. I talk about this on my show all the time. The skin suits don't allow it.
Yeah.
However, you evolve. These are the breakthroughs, the ones that turn from the hive and are like, people get nervous. They go, well, they could be hiding in plain sight next to you and pretending to be good. I'm like, not at my frequency, son. If you're
Mm.
rocking this frequency, you're like, I'm doing the right thing 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I know the frequency. Now they're rocking it hard and they're crying, and they're like,
Mm.
oh, and I'm like, hey, thanks guys, let me greet you with some love and light. And they're like, oh, thank you so much, especially you. I'm like, yeah, because I can't stand you motherfuckers, because of everything that you did, the raping and the pillaging and the plundering and the eating of the children. I want to fucking choke every one of you, but not you. So as you made your change into love, I made mine. And I'm looking right at them and I said, I told you from day one. I put it to the reptilian consciousness as well as the seven that walked in the fucking condo and were threatening me. Right. I said, the first thing I said was, wow, you're awesome. If we
Mm.
could work together and be friends, you you won't even, I don't know if you can conceptualize how awesome it was be. And he's like, yeah, we don't talk to the farm animal. Do you talk to a cow before you eat it? And I
Mm.
go, what? You're here to fucking eat me? And he was like, nah, we're past that, but we're letting you know that we're on to you. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. What are you talking about? Wouldn't it be besties if you were like my Chewbacca, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, no. Now there's a whole section of them that are like, fuck yeah, lethal weapon, bro, Riggs and Murtaugh. And I'm like, you guys have no idea how awesome this is in terms of the ones that turn into the light. You have to accept them with open arms. You
Yeah.
have to, right? I had to accept my father with open arms recently, right? And I
Yeah.
want to kick him just as hard as I want to kick a reptilian. And you know what? It wasn't fucking bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I'm like, yo, this is great. And they're like, we got you back. See, for me as a shaman, I'm like, wait, so I could bring you in and you'll help? They're like, we'll start right now. And I'm like, so wait, I can get along with the reptiles? The- And they're like, yeah, but you have been, but not like this, because you put the wall up, right?
Yeah.
We tell you to keep throwing love at it because you're not going to stop one of them. It's not like you're going to shoot them and stop them if they come in your house. So there's no war with that. This is a spiritual thing. We have to
Yeah.
rise. And as we rise, they see what's happening and they start to feel change and that love. And some will turn to they'll stay in their frequency and just be like, no, you're crazy. And those of the love will come over. Now, after a certain amount for them, just like the 100th monkey works, it enters it into their frequency. Doesn't mean they'll all get it, but in time they will.
Totally. That's what you're saying. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's just like here on Earth. It's just like
Yeah.
any group of people.
Yeah.
So wonderful reptilian news for once. Geez, I can't even believe I said that. It sounds weird coming out of me. It's almost like
we're in a new world, bro. Come on. You've known it's coming for a while. You just laid out the whole reason why. Right on, man. Tell the story.
Yeah, but so Aaron, little Frank is like,
a little traumatized.
Like, but it's so exciting, like a child that. All right, so if you put a bunch of weird creatures in front of a child, right, and you were like walking down the street, and they were across the street, and they were just hanging out. They were just whatever, and you explain to a child, oh, look at that, that's Reptile Man, and that's Monkey Man, and that's Snake Woman, and this is Peacock, whatever, and then the kid will just go over there.
Yeah.
Right? If your vibe is chill, and he'll just go, hey man, love you, bro. Give me a hug. He'll touch your skin, touch your face. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is weird. This is weird. Here, feel mine. Feel mine. My beard. I know my beard is weird. And everyone's like, ew, 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 but you're doing it. And then you're like, love you, man. We got to go back to shit like that again.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're the kid again, and you're looking and you're going, hey man, it's okay to be friends.
Yeah.
Right? If anything spiritually outlashes against you at a high frequency, you'll throw a beating on them for sure. Right? Because they're doing everything consciously. Right? They're expecting the same from you. So as you're doing it, they're earning this respect. Like, oh, the meat just transformed. But we were already transformed. See, I would argue with them. No, we're already conscious. They're like, no, you're just a bunch of dummies. Right? And it's like, oh, so that made it okay? And it's like, no, but it's not okay anymore. It's like, oh, I get it. It's like, hey, man, do you have chickens? I'm like, well, I want them. He's like, well, you fucking eat chicken burgers all day. But you want chickens. So you could hug them and hang out in your backyard. Like, you make no sense. Right? It's just like us. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting it now. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting it because I really want the chickens. So they eat the ticks and then they lay the eggs. And I could come out and hug them and feed them and shit at 5 in the morning. So I'm up. Right? So we have to let go of some of this crazy and start welcoming things now with open arms and watch what occurs, right? Could you imagine doing a ceremony and pulling a reptilian out, and then the reptilian, like, I love you guys, I can help you with this, boof, and then just does, because you're maybe stuck in a fear moment and you don't know what to do, and they come out meditating over you like fucking Jedi, and you go, wait a second, those are the ones that ate people, and it's like, yo, everybody eats some fucked up shit around in the dualistic universe, right? There's everyone's eating something.
Yeah.
The realization of not doing that any longer turns it into something complete. You see how everyone's starting to get along. I'm like, oh shit. So then I go, is this a reflection of what we're going to do with the animals? Like the literal, I always say, I want my lions back. And I have a lot of cats and stuff, but I know I have lions that are friends, that are actual lions. And I talked to you about this. It was the, what are the two animals that lay together in the Bible? And you're like, oh, everyone's gonna get along because the dove and the fucking wolf are gonna chill.
The lion and the lamb is often quoted.
Yeah, the lion and the lamb are gonna just chill. So now it's starting to make sense. I did a small little magic mushroom ritual dance outside last night. It just felt natural. It was some sage and some weed.
Yeah, man.
A lot of love. All the animals responded, including the insects. And the ones that stay behind and the ones that pursue the aggressiveness, you fucking smash them right in their stupid faces. And you got to do what you got to do, right?
That's
you walk into the beehive.
There's a pastor who'd say, I don't go looking for demons, but my gun is always loaded. So if they show up, I just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And it's ready to go.
It's like, oh, you thought you were gonna. Yeah, no monologue, you bitch. This isn't an action movie.
Well, we're talking about many levels of dimensions here. We're not talking just little things. I mean, you can do that to anything in your field or your space. It's your space.
Yeah, man. And it's time. That's another thing. Where you walk is, and don't take this the wrong way, but where you step is your sacred space, right? So we're
Mm.
sacred. It's like it's so it's not wherever I walk, stay out of my space. No, you're fucking bringing down divine awesomeness. Like respect yourself and respect that position and watch what occurs in your environment. Watch how it turns around and works in your favor. I even said the universe. I said to the guy, the universe is conspiring for us for sure. And he goes, man, I absolutely agree with that. And I'm like, oh, Joe the fireman just turned around and was like, yes, I agree with Frank, the weirdo, the shaman that was out there, and it's like, I think we're getting the big picture now. I think it's coming
Yeah.
through. We're going to still be, so some nasty shit. There's still more to come. Now, optimum timeline doesn't mean you're going to walk on roses into the bedroom and everyone's going to start sleeping with you. That's not what any of this has to do with. You literally are marching with mother as she shakes off the monster, right? Which is an
Yeah.
exact thing of what you're doing,
Mm.
right? She's got demons. She's got all your demons and all her demons, right? She's got to get rid of them, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
do? Well, we transmute them. Well, we're doing it together. Those that don't,
Mm-hmm.
right? You become aware of this. You're like, I don't like this stuff. When this shit comes into the room, I don't like it. Well, what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna
Mm-hmm.
let the puppets run the show and just no? They everything the dark is done. I don't like using the word dark because we're 50% darkness. Everything the
Mm.
cabal and all them do, or those that want to keep us down, nothing has worked, including this pandemic. But remember, you guys gotta fucking remember this because they're making me. They're like, yo, everybody's seeing UFOs lately and all kinds of cool shit, and you hear about Space
Mm-hmm.
Force and all interesting things. There's a dark side to this as well. That last
Mm.
card still got to be pulled because they're still in power. There's still
Mm.
power there, and as long as there's power there, it's not dead. And how many of you know that you cut the head off a snake and the poisonous fangs are still poisonous, right? Pick it up and
Yeah.
it'll still snap at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tail lashes out. Um, the dead creature that appears dead can, like I said, drip the venom on you, and then you can ingest it that way. There's still weird shit that's going to occur, and you got to stay strong in it. You got to not connect to it. You got to walk right through this stuff. Like
Mm.
go out and do the garden. I keep saying eat mushrooms because
Mm-hmm.
this might be the greatest thing ever. If it wasn't for ayahuasca
Mm.
and mushrooms, I feel all hope would have been lost. I see the other timeline and I'm like, nope, I don't accept that. But we're going to get to a
Mm.
choice point and those that still haven't made that choice are going to all have to make it at once or the other. It's okay. The ones that decide to stay with the dark still get there's always a way out. That's why they always say, well,
Mm.
you could change right now and everything's fine. You still got to go through your penance, whatever that might be, if you're really a fucker. But
Mm.
you can turn it around. There's so many times where you read in the comic books where the villain turns around and there's just another big villain, and then one that villain saves the baby and is a hero for 2 issues, and everyone's like, "No, I kind of like Darkseid as a fucking hero for those 2 issues. He kind of
Mm.
made me feel really good." And I go, "What? Empowered, right? You had one of the greatest characters ever. Darth Vader just turned and was like, "Nah, I'm just Anakin. I'm just wearing the suit for a minute." You
Mm.
we're gonna readjust and bring this all together. But that fake alien shit, the faux stuff, that's all gonna go
Mm.
down one way or another. It almost has to. It's like you got to pass through the eye of the needle. So all of the claims have to be taken. All of the cards
Mm.
have to be played, and you're just passing through one, then the other, and then the next, and it's like momentum in which direction. If you're paying attention properly, there's no momentum on their side for you at all. You just laugh at them constantly. Oh, that's what they're doing today. I haven't watched TV in weeks, right? Yet still know what's going on, still see the clips, and I just don't give a shit. I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. I watch my
Mm.
shows. I watch cartoons, so I like X-Men cartoons and
Fuck yeah,
fucking
man.
Avengers cartoons, right? Like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'm worthy, right? I just get into it.
Yeah. Come on.
And now it's time for our shine to occur. So if you let them dim it by watching Channel 5 News or Fox and then ESPN or CNN, they're just telling you shit, numbers, statistics, and you're fucking believing it. Go outside. It's not really as bad as you think.
Yeah.
Go outside, turn this fucking TV off. I still now my dad has, according to the hospital, coronavirus, but I haven't seen my dad in six
Mm.
years. So there's your first person that I know with supposed corona. So he's 16 miles from me. So I'm sure people have been sick, and I'm sure it's
Mhm.
getting around. It's been 2 fucking months. Come outside, right? Wash your
Mhm.
hands, wear gloves if you need to. You live your life, and little by little tear away some of this fear. I get it. That second comeback with the pandemics can cause mass die-offs. I don't believe so this time. I've been around all these people and things in the last 2 months. Nothing. It's like I can't explain it, but it's all there and it's all occurring. So
Mhm.
you can't let it fucking control you. You can't let the virus lock you down. The virus is doing something. It's unlocking your. It's allowing you as a human creator to witness what's happening and go, well, there's a game afoot. This doesn't make sense. It's done on purpose. So the light is seeing it from its perspective, going, no, it's on the optimum timeline. It's the least amount of life, the least amount of those that don't turn to the light. That's all. There's still all of that shit there, right? So down to the last moment, these jerk offs are going to throw it at us. Be aware. Go do your thing. Find out you don't really need to be over here exactly at fucking 4 o'clock. What you need to be doing is healing yourself. Maybe learning how to cook, play a fucking instrument, be nice to your kids, teach them how to read, and teach yourself how to fucking read. Uh, just write your book, right? Stop worrying about the system. The system's gonna collapse. Fuck them. They never loved you anyway. The fuck did, like people are like, oh, you a Jet fan? You a Yankee fan? I'm like, yeah, whatever. And they're like, oh, you don't like that? I'm like,
Mm.
what the fuck they ever do for me? What do I care? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna start an argument with me over something like that. It shows you where people's heads are at, right? Don't be that. Take this time to say, well, I was that, and I'm not going to be that anymore. Or maybe you're on a high horse. Maybe you need to kick the chair out from under yourself so you could come down a little bit and meet, because maybe love and light is so oh so important. But when you're dealing with this over here, which is why people get mad at me, because I'll take the meditators and say, who wants to go rush the guys that are doing the rituals against us? Who wants to go show
Mhm.
up at the ritual 4 minutes before it starts in the now moment? You want to show up there? We'll throw some baseball bats on them. Let's go fucking have some fun. Let's go take the cake and squirt them with the cake batter before we even make the cake. Let's bake the fucking cake with all them in it. Fucking throw it the fuck out. Throw it right out the fucking window and laugh. Or let's bring it to the next guy, the big one. That's the big guy over there, Bill Gates. Yeah. We got this cake we made with all these motherfuckers in it, and we're just gonna smash you right in your face with it. People get mad that I do that stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I went back to the original rituals, and I saw them doing the atomic, getting the information for um, the atomic bomb and shit. I saw the
Mhm.
entities doing that, and I fucking kicked that entity right in his face. I was like, let me tell you something. Get the fuck out of here. And I closed the portal. And then they were confused. Everyone was just standing there looking. I go, yeah, no baby eating today, because it's a now moment. It's always happening. And as
Come
I
on.
started doing that, others just were showing up, going, what is this? Picking up their paperwork and ripping it, seeing the
Mm.
bowl of blood, kicking it out. If there's music playing, shutting it off. If someone's got to be really still in that moment, you tickle them and make sure he fucking moves, right? Like do everything
Yeah.
you can without choking them for real. You can't do that. You're not supposed to go up and just start punching their faces in. But you walk in there with Archangel Michael and a flaming sword. What did you think? I came to have fucking coffee? I'd take that sword and show them what's up. So that's the stuff I enjoy doing,
Yeah,
because as we
man.
do this, so May 5th, happy Cinco de Mayo, and then
Happy Cinco de
yesterday, May the
Mayo.
4th be with you.
No
On the
doubt.
fourth, on that fourth, that's the
No, the
last day of their ritual
may the
cycle.
fourth be with you. May
May
the
the
fourth be
fourth be
with
with
you.
you. Yesterday was the end cycle of the ritual that they were doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, that they could actually use
Mm.
their energy against us,
Mm.
right? So all your love and light. and provided that you're sitting on top of your roof, providing love and light to people, maybe you should get down here and get in the arena, you fucking bitch, right? Get in here and get your hands dirty because you're 50% darkness. It's not darkness isn't evil. It's not evil at all. It's just dark. What the fuck's wrong with you? All right, there's some stuff in the dark. Oh, so there we go, playing peekaboo with the things in the fucking darkness again. There's good. You don't think there's good in darkness? You're out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind.
Mm.
So these are the things we have to start relearning, regripping onto. So you got those on the high horse, those that aren't doing shit, those that are doing, come into that singularity point, start working and watch what happens. Then you won't be. This is why I don't go live all the time, dude, because people start going, oh, I'll wait for what Frank tells me to do or what Frank said. I'm just telling my fucking story. I got insight. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have it all. I when I do, I call Aaron. I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
So,
Like,
dude, imagine like if you just go back to this idea, because I don't let's keep putting this in the vortex. We'll see what happens, right? So if you do a show, a segment where you do an hour, you're just your day, right? Maybe meditating, maybe you're in there helping make some food, so you're just chatting. What's about chatting while you do food, or you're chatting your family, or whatever. You're just also chatting to the camera, and like you can tell people, hey, go help your mother. Go cook some food for your mother, like whatever you're doing it, right? But you can throw those in there. So, but it's like it's you just living your life too.
yeah, and there's no wrong way. Like some people get mad. They're
Yeah.
like, well, you curse sometimes. I go, I do that a lot sometimes. Paula
Dude,
tells me I have a
dude.
limit a day, right? So
Oh yeah.
she allows five c words a day, and I used to use them all, right?
I
She goes, I
used to
used
use them all. Keep
right, but
going.
now I said it takes the fun out of it if I'm walking around,
Yeah.
this all day. I go, I'm gonna reduce that to like one every random moment. So my mouth that would get me in trouble all of a sudden then dropped in its cursing nature because everyone around here sounds like Scarface, right? Hey, what the fuck, motherfucker? What the fuck? Hey, man, it's
Yeah.
fucking good to see you, you fucking dick. Where you fucking been? It's like an Andrew Dice Clay movie
Yeah.
90% of the time,
Awesome.
right? It sounds awesome, right? But you could try
Yeah.
explaining ayahuasca to somebody like that, but they're like, but you're it, right? So the
Yeah.
monkey is now learning how to process it and look at the other gun going, no, come here, you motherfucker, and take a look at this. This is good. Good. Yes, good. Positive plus. Well, we need to we
That was Frank's expression of dumbing it down for the locals because he gets it because he grew up in that culture. And that's why
that's
he's such
it.
a beautiful person in his own culturally appropriated expression,
You
man. That's
guys
why I
have
love
no
every
idea when
little thing about your life, Frank. All the nuances. It's fucking you, man. And obviously, you've proven yourself more than enough to everyone here tonight if they tune in from the beginning. What an amazing human being you are. So if there's some fuck yous that throw around your family and that's normal and everybody's cool with that, that shouldn't offend you. Go fuck
yeah,
yourself. Like that's the culture, man.
that's like the people that are roses walking over to like the tulip people and saying you're too tulipy over in this area. It's like no, over here it's the
Yeah,
way
but
it
we're all
is,
flowers. We're all flowers, bro. And
right?
you're like, yeah, but you're tulipy.
Yeah, you're too tulipy. You tulips that you
Yeah.
just too, and it's like no. So Frank comes along with all this other shit. No, Frank will tell you to your face, you're fucking nuts, and you're fucking. This is why I left places and don't work with certain people anymore because I'm the one that could say that to you. I'm like, listen, I don't want to fucking be involved in this. I don't
Yeah.
like it. It doesn't make me feel good. Below the waist, if it doesn't wiggle and jiggle a little bit, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm just not. And by the way, yous are all selling. Not that everything they sell is wrong or bad. It's just that
Yeah.
if they don't have the next thing in line or the availability to do it, and see, they can't have the discussion like we're having. They have to like have the guest and have to ram it home. They're selling it so they could keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's like you got to commit to your own suicide. You got to go
Yeah.
all the way with it, but
Yeah.
it
Isn't
doesn't
it?
necessarily make everything bad with it. A lot of the
Yeah.
truth is
Right. Like yeah.
80%
Like
truth.
you're good.
No, mixed into the full story. Like when you read the Bible, it's like, yo, well, and I uncover this with you, Aaron, as we talk all the
Mhm.
time because I grew up Catholic, but I don't give a shit. But then now I'm like, oh, look at this. It matches with this. It's like they're
Yeah.
giving you the rewritten, humanized version over and over and over and over. It's always been
Yeah.
human written, but
Yeah. The oral
they
oral historians. Yeah.
right. So then They give you like, oh, let's give them 60% in this story, and then the rest is bullshit. Like they make it external instead of internal. So just that switch right there would solve a complete giant monstrous issue with everybody not being in this separate thing. Like, oh, it's God is over there. No, it's you, motherfucker. Wake up. Your source. It's you. You, the creator. How many times we got to
Yeah.
tell you this shit? Oh no, but God, if Jesus hears you saying that, I'll bring fucking Jesus here right now. Space Jesus would agree with me. And by the way, he would smoke pot with us. So stop being a fucking bitch. Like, let's do this. But the truth and the lie is just mixed perfectly. So we get stuck in these weird things. No, it's my God. It's this thing, and this guy's looking at me, judging me, and I can't put a finger in a butt because then I got to go fucking do confession for 6 months. It's like, no, you don't. Right? You're the only one judging you. Stop being a dick. Right? But the
Yeah.
truth is still in there. Right? Right? The moral of the story: don't kill. Love yourself. You can do more than I've ever done. Well, that motherfucker. Let's see. He
Right.
walked on water, changed water to wine. Oh, and he came back from the dead. I think there's a lot going on there, a lot more than we're giving this credit to. But he's saying, regardless of all the stories inside of that, it's you. It's you. It's you. Right? And
Yeah,
then you
man.
get commandments. Those commandments, right? We just say opposite of the seven deadly sins, right? Just to make it easy. Honor your mother and father. That's kind of obvious, right? Or is it not? Or is it was never obvious and that's why they had to say it? I mean, that's a pretty good one, right? Don't kill. Don't
Yeah,
steal
pretty
someone's
obvious.
wife.
Yeah. Right.
Give
You
me a
think?
fucking break. I see. This is where you want to just choke people. It's like I don't need
Right.
this guy telling me this is a moral compass thing, right? You should have
Right.
common sense. Oh well, everyone doesn't have common sense, so they latch on to that, and then
Dude,
they
my
shift
grandpa
the
always
narrative.
said, common sense isn't very common, right?
Yeah,
Which is
smart
cool.
man.
Like it's true. Smart man. The irony is he is in a lot of areas. He's so he's so far sorry. He's so far liberal. It's insane. He would, if he could, talk to my dad when we go visit him like for hours on end, all about how bad Trump was. Like the most like there's no word edgewise in certain ways, in like whatever, but like until this most recent thing, maybe he got activated in some sense, like he wasn't that, but he was pretty cool and normal, and he still is. Like you get him outside of politics, he's still grandpa, right? But he goes into like that's like all he cares about now. Jesus, I know you're so strongly opinionated about something you're so wrong in. Like,
Yeah, and you can't
geez,
ever tell them
man.
that one thing, but
Well, I know,
fuck,
and
right?
especially when he's like, common sense isn't common. He's like, anyway. So like, here's another dynamic I'm wanting to bring in. It's so funny because as you speak, and it's interesting on the show dynamic, right? I'm trying to figure out its own uniqueness, and then the uniqueness is of different times when people come on. So you're a storyteller, man, for sure, right? And me and Zach are in our own ways, in the ways that we articulate and kind of at length as part of it. You're carrying on, or at least our own story, right? And like ideally in this dynamic, we're engaged, people are engaged too, and it sparks other conversation, other thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. So you tell the stories beautifully well. You and I have a really deep coherence and resonance, and just like brotherhood, whatever you want to put it, in all those ways. And so as you flow, like there's an energetic flow. I tune in with you. I feel with you, moving through dynamics of your story and helping in certain ways energetically as you're telling the story, and also just seeing if there's parts where there's little gems that point out to me, like that I want to bring back in now, and a lot of them, little ones, were like a thing like fractals and flowers from something you said, right? That's relevant. I can bring in the conversation later, and I'm not. Sometimes I write down, but a lot of times I'm just throw it in the vortex, so it'll come up later in conversation, right, or whatever, and let that chew and whatever. And so, anyway, getting to um, oh man, I glanced at the chat. Totally killed my train of thought. Sometimes it's good. I'm good at that. Sometimes I'm not.
You should never,
Right.
never look. I refuse to look at it when I'm speaking. I won't
I
do it
know
if I
it
have to
bumped
stay on
it.
topic.
It bumped up, and my eyes caught faster. My mind caught him back on track, and it caught a comment, and it threw me off.
I want
Okay,
people to
so
hear me and just shout out to everyone that's listening. I
do it.
love you guys so much and everybody in the chat. The story of you is never wrong, right?
Yeah,
It's never a
yeah,
wrong story. It's your story. You choose to tell it the way you choose to tell it, right?
mm,
If you come from the heart, you can change your story because we've all had our shit moments and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater in this one. Just some
yeah,
advice from a shaman. What's about to
mm,
happen is going to be the most magical thing that you could imagine if you choose that. Don't wait for them to show you the magic, or wait for arrests, or wait for this as a marker for you to do any of your own hard personal work. Just do the work, because your story is never wrong. You will get the information internally, and you'll realize what bullshit is and what it isn't, and you'll be able to maintain a beautiful, long-lasting relationship with nature again and the people around you. Um, I always go, it's so much fun to teach, learn, and learn, teach, right? Because as much
Yeah.
as I talk, I was listening to you guys. I learned something all the time, every fucking minute. So I enjoy the others masters. We're all masters, right? It's just who started earlier. That's all. I was in a different time zone, in a different place, much older, this, that, and the other thing. So there's his road, right? You guys aren't any less than me. You're just activating at your age point, at your, and then you're doing your thing, and then I get to listen to your story. Like, you're very detailed, Aaron. I tell you this. I'm like, the way you
Mm.
explain things, it puts everything into perspective when I'm in that wonder moment of the detail,
Mm.
and then you just start detailing it, and I'm like, well, there you go. It's almost like a perfect etherical translations,
Mm.
right? Like Paula has it as
Don't
well.
let Paula get jealous. Or a bromance. It won't happen. I'm her favorite. It won't happen. It's all good.
We're supposed to pass this information around and show each other we have it and how to use it so you can use it. I see. I don't ever feel like anyone takes from me that way, right? You people
Yeah.
have taken advantage of me, but you don't take from me. Like, what do you? Oh, like, you can't take
Yeah.
from my story,
Yeah.
right? You're either
Yeah.
part of it or you're not. That's why there's no competition to me. I can't have the competition no more. It's just, it
Mm.
is what it is. I haven't reacted to anyone's statements, any songs with their bullshit lyrics. These motherfuckers have no idea, right? I'm
Yeah.
literally a lyricist from the highest order, and then people will pick shots, and I won't. I'll be like, look, I have to be the better one here, no matter what happens, no matter who's doing it or saying what and doing. My 300 will fucking wreck you.
Right.
Period. Spiritually, you want us at the party. We make the party,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so we're all coming online now, and this is the most beautiful time to be alive. And watching you and Zach, Paula, I, I don't know, man, you're turning into something way more, way more. You guys are. I
Mm.
heard all the ideas. I got your messages and stuff. I know what's going on. This is becoming grand, right? Where you're like, holy shit. It's like, yep, right? You can't
Yep.
deny it. This is time. It's time. It's time.
Yep.
No, we get to eat from the same pie. And yeah, you're all wealthy. Yes, you're all abundant. No, you're not getting fucked over. This
Yeah.
isn't about getting rich. Do you want to be rich? Because you could lose rich overnight. You could lose
Yeah.
it. I was rich yesterday, and today I'm poor. Wealthy just goes forever, right? So I'm
If
Yeah.
I
abundantly
wanted to make
wealthy.
a bunch of money, I wouldn't build a community. I'd just destroy one. It's much easier, honestly. Gets you plenty of money real fast.
Yeah.
No.
So
That's what you're
listen,
going for.
we're, we're we're clicking it together. We're gonna walk into the new beautiful world together,
Yeah.
and it's not competition. It's not high stake games. It's not the. It's the story of you. It's you and how beautiful it's going to be as you make your switch into the light, recognize all this stuff, become aware of it, become responsible, and sit at the table yourself. Nobody's keeping you from it. That's the beautiful thing. We're watching each individual come up and flower up. I'm not waiting for
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage to tell me coronavirus, you should stay home. Shut the fuck up. So nobody cares what you say,
Yeah.
right? No, nobody cares anymore. This is about you. It's about me. It's not about what being told is. You want to be told what to do? As a creator, there's a little bit of a slave attachment to that when you say something like that. I want to be told what to do. It's easier. That shows you a person who's afraid to think,
Mm.
right? And that we have to break through. We have to break through that. We are coming through this as one giant fucking team. We all take the field at once. Now what? It's like, well, you're only allowed to have 11 players. No, we don't. We do whatever we want. and we can walk out on
Mhm.
here and make it beautiful. And you know what? Maybe I don't want to fight you and score touchdowns on you and kick your ass and fuck you, motherfucker. Maybe I just want to give you a high five. Maybe I want to kick a hacky sack in the hacky sack circle. I know this sounds hippie, but smoke and find out how you made it to here. How'd you get here?
Mhm.
I don't care what movie you've been in. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Yeah, that's cool. However, you, let's hear it. This is the beautiful part. And we are all that. You, Zach, me, bunch of others, a whole bunch of others. So building a community like this, I feel like, oh, it's never worked before properly. But guess what? It's never been this now, right? And as the yard work got fixed, why wouldn't it work on this level? Why wouldn't it work
Mhm.
on a massive on YouTube? Once again, and I see that you're learning their annoying little habits with monetization
Yeah.
and all kinds of weird copyrights and all
Yeah. Yeah.
using their system, which you're
Yep.
not really paying for. Does anyone really pay for this? Like I pay $10 or $11 for
Yeah.
premium just because I don't want commercials.
Me either.
But
Yep.
you can do your show. You
Right.
can do a network. What like you can use the weapon against them without having to bash them, right?
Right.
You like conspiracy theorists grab onto something and they fucking run with it, and then they're like, YouTube's hell, and then this and that and there. I'm like, there's good people at YouTube, just like there's good people everywhere else. But
No.
the
Mhm.
programming is it sucks and it fucks you over. Yeah, okay. Well, knowing that, you can't work around that. You're a creator. You're not paying anything. You could
Fuck
literally just
yeah,
press a
man.
button and start.
I'll create that shit too.
Give me a break. Yeah,
People
right. So
project their excuses into that shit too. They act like their content's getting taken down and like the man's fucking them over and shit. When really it's just like, dude, you're literally just not following the rules of the system. It doesn't fucking work like that. You know, you're not allowed to play baseball, come up, hit the ball, and then run to third base first. It doesn't work like that. Sorry.
exactly,
Don't do it
and
that way.
you can agree to disagree with, but it's the system, and it's once again, it's free. It's the platform is the platform. If you had to pay for all that shit individually, you'd be spending a lot of money monthly, servers, this, that, the other thing, and bills galore. Then you'd have to run advertisements. Then you have to do this. Then you have to do that. We can literally just have the conversation. Now what? Just have the conversation. That's what the people want. They want the meat and potatoes now. They don't want a 2 minute clip and another 2 minute clip and another 2 minute clip. Like enough. Where's the heart in this? Show it to me. Let me see it. Pull it out. Let me view it from all angles. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Pass it to Aaron. Let's see what he thinks. Pass it to Zach. See what he thinks. Hand it back to Frank. Put it back in his chest. Wow, that was great. Or fuck that. And you just change the channel. Free.
Yeah, man.
Free.
Beautiful.
Right?
Right on.
All right. How many? All right. I loved horror movies growing up, Aaron. Loved them. I can't watch
Cool.
them no more.
Yeah.
Like I could watch maybe like a really cool one. I don't know, but like the Hellraiser things and the this and that, like the content, I get it, right? But my mind doesn't want to do that anymore. I'm like the all, right? And you have that belief in the whole thing. You're like, all right, that shit's there, but do I really want to be part of that? So then it brings a new nuance um, into your awareness, into your daily situations as you think. Like just horror movies alone being removed because these things are real. And I'm not saying remove them. I'm talking about me walking away from the dark, evil thing,
Yeah.
right? And then replacing it with something alive and living makes me all of a sudden so happy, right? So
Mm.
I used to watch Hellraiser. The guy's name is Frank in the movie. Yeah, he's cutting his face, he's doing all kinds of stupid shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is boss, bro. I can't do it no more. I can't watch Saw. I can't watch,
Wow.
and I'm turning away from it. I'm making my choice. And I'm not also being a bitch about it. I'm just going, no, I know I've seen it already. I'm not going to sit there and relive horror over and over and over because these horror movies have a thing in it about victimization. Like you're the victim
Yeah.
or you're the murderer. Well, I would be like him or I would be like that. How about no victims?
Yeah.
Right? How about the guy that comes into his own and punches Jason in his fucking face and the mask flies off and he loses a tooth and you're like, holy shit, did he just do that? And the guy goes, yeah, he fucking rips his shirt off, tears the dude's head off, transmutes him, and the movie becomes a comedy, right? Like it's time to um, those feelings that we aspire to have but are too afraid to have when you do stuff like pound yourself with the like the horror movie, the gore, the blood, the guts. I went to a Motley Crue concert once. They were flashing that shit on stage, and I threw up. Like I just projectile vomited in the front row, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" They're like, "That's how they mind control people. You didn't know that? They fucking
Yeah.
hold your eyes open and flash those images."
Yep.
I'm walking away and moving past all of it with full understanding. I used to love this, or I used to love Metallica. I just don't anymore. I still have it there, and I'm aware, and I'm moving into this. And it's a beautiful like Care Bear scenario. I know it sounds cheesy and stuff, but it's really not. I mean, fuck, we're still partying,
Oh man.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
What
just
are you
no
doing on a
fights.
Friday night? What are you doing on a Friday night?
Raising my consciousness
Oh
every
yeah,
Friday night.
maybe making some chameleon leaf, big old chameleon leaf blunts.
Why are you waiting till Friday to smoke it? Little bitch, every day's Friday. Every
No,
day
did I
is
say
Friday.
Friday? I meant every day that ends in Y. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
This is
okay.
the
So, there's so many things, Frank. I love just when you just be Frank Castle, and I love
I'm
that there's a
sorry if
space.
I'm ranting and just
No, no, no,
talking,
no, no,
but
no.
I'm
I'm
so
dead. Don't
I don't ever
apologize,
come on air
please.
tripping.
Dude, no, and here's the thing to me. This isn't like, oh, well, what's Frank like normally? Dude, this is Frank, man. This is Frank in a slightly altered state of consciousness, more connected to his own neurology. He's expressing his stories, and some of these in ways he's told before, some he hasn't, man. The whole first half hour, that whole thing, that in the yard and everything today, and like so many of those dynamics, like that's Frank retelling his story with a new and nuanced perspective based on him knowing himself now and snapping that string back through all his other experiences, some kind of additional perception, hindsight, and that's being expressed in real time. So that's your real story now in this moment. That's as you see your history. Those are the select things you picked out because it carries a resonance of your story and your progression, who you are. You're wonderful the way you are. Do not ever apologize for ranting on, not on our show anyway. Not on my show,
Well,
Frank.
I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm taking you guys outside with me right now.
Yeah, please do. Go. Frank, you're already literally, do you understand? You was talking about light and dark, black and white, and like you literally half white, half black on your screen. You're in the dark. You're in mushrooms. Like you're in the dark. It's perfect. Yeah, go smoke. Just do
Wait,
audio and
wait,
have your
check
video
this
there. What
out.
do you see?
Can you see? I can't tell if you can see this.
Hold on, let's see. You can hold it up.
Wait a second. Where is it?
Oh, your
My
video froze though.
oh man. All right, well fuck it then.
Oh, because you went out
Uh
to the. Oh, because you went to find it on your phone.
dude, the moon. Holy shit. That's all right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I don't mean to come out and yappy pappy, but you know what? We're all just regular people. And we don't where do you get your clue from? Is it books? Is it nature? Is it this? Is it that? Where do you get it from? Well, Frank gets it from this. So once I knew you could explore your consciousness on that kind of level, I was in. I was like, there's no better TV show. There's
Hmm.
no better show in the world.
Hmm.
That which is you is the greatest ever. And you have to explore that. You have to get out there and you have to get your hands dirty. Right?
Hmm.
Somebody was out here before and they were yelling, your man don't want you, your man don't want you. And somebody yelled at her, shut the fuck up, you homeless bitch. And it was the funniest thing because everybody's home.
Yeah.
This lady is still out here screaming. I could hear her echoing through the yards. She was walking up and down the block before going, your boyfriend don't want you, fuck you. And people are like, shut up, you homeless bitch. It's the funniest thing to be here.
You live in the comics, man. That's like the stereotype of like that's a
Mm.
stereotype of like ghetto New York. That is so funny.
So back in the day, right, you'd be able to
Yeah,
see straight down from the backyards all the way down
yeah.
the block. So you would get, hey, What are you doing over there? I see you fucking around in the back. I'll tell your mother. And you'd be like, yo, shut up. Then your mother comes out on the second floor window with a
Yeah.
fucking shoe and
Mm.
throws it at your face and goes, you shut the fuck up. I can hear everything you're saying. Get in the house. And we would laugh and laugh because it started happening again. Hey, Ma.
Yeah.
She comes to the window. What's up? How you doing? Bring me down a water. Then the neighbor's like, hey, Diane, how are you? Is that Frank down there? Hey, what's going on? What the fuck, kid? How are you? That and you just hear them going, very old school, very streetcar named Desire, and they're screaming out windows and shit, and
Yeah.
all those old classical plays where you just watching this in the city, and you're like, this can't be real. These guys are like almost they're singing songs and they're yelling out windows and they're fighting in the streets and they're fucking doing stupid shit. And it's like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's the city. It's the inner city right there. Every day we grow up like that with that
Yeah, man.
craziness.
Well, it
Everyone
makes
has a
sense. It
comic
makes
book
sense that
character.
I was gonna say, but it makes sense then being birthed out of that is Frank Castle, fearless, the fucking the bearded. You had that gray stripe through your beard, right? And then crazy intense eyes, man, the lightning behind you, and like even your Facebook picture, I see that, and it's just so funny to me because it's like I get you, and that's like true on so many levels. But like you're also just Frank, you know? Like it's just so funny. That's like popping out of the Jack in the Box thing, or popping out and say, hey, you know what's that? That whole shit, man. You know, I
Aaron, the
love
best
that
part
shit.
is
Yeah,
people
what?
forget that the giant white stripe in the beard comes from being frightened on a paranormal level beyond
Oh, that's
anything.
right. What's the story?
Right?
What's the story? I forget.
It was May 2015, no, 98, 97. I think it was 98, 1998. And I just got home from jail from Florida. I was straight as a straight guy can be, ripped like fucking Rambo. And my brother was in the house. It was the night before Mother's Day, right? And then I come upstairs from the basement. There's a guy standing in my living room. Now all the lights are on in the house, so I'm like looking at this guy, and he's got a hat on. He's got a trench coat, black trench coat.
Yeah.
He's got a the hat is like a round old fashioned hat. I can't explain it. It was like old school,
Yeah.
1930s, 1920s. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I was like, "You motherfucker!" And I ran into the living room to tackle him, and he
Yeah.
moved forward from the living room into the dining room, and he had no legs. There were no feet touching the floor, and
Yeah.
the shadow never defined itself. The closer I got, it didn't. I couldn't. It was still a shadow, and I was like, "Yo!" It came right up to me, looked at me, and I said, "Grandpa," and it looked. When it got right up to my face, I thought it was my great grandfather, and I
Yeah.
collapsed on the floor, like just holding my chest and shit. My brother came running upstairs. He said, I was shutting the light to the basement, and I turn around. He goes, I thought you were going to scare me again and try to fuck me up. So he goes, I turn around and look, and there's this man. He's like 6'2", wearing a hat,
Yeah.
and he goes, he blows in his face, and he goes, I fell to the floor, holding my chest. His hair, my brother, he was only, God, he was young. He was like 18, maybe younger. The size of his hair, like Mr. Fantastic, turned bright white,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
So I didn't
Yeah.
grow my beard. I was smooth faced. The next, I started growing it immediately, and there was a
Yeah.
giant white patch. And I remember the fear I went through that night. I remember
Hmm.
this. I remember shaking to where it wouldn't go away. Because when I got up to help my brother, I saw him go back to the back door, like right out the back onto the patio through the door. And I'd never seen a ghost, so I was freaking the fuck out, losing
Yeah.
my mind. Dude, Frank was not this Frank back then. I was a rapper,
Yeah. Yeah.
100% rock star,
For sure.
you know.
Oh, you're a human too once, Frank? Okay.
Oh yeah, man. Hmm.
Now you're just additionally extra
Well,
human. You got your
dude,
Ferrari's got more buttons turned on.
the best part about the fearless thing, it didn't come from, oh, we're gonna not be afraid and blah. It came from being so scared
Yeah.
and not realizing how frightened you were,
Hmm.
frightened to your core. But
Yeah.
somehow you know this is right. You know it's right, and you have to
Yeah.
stand in it. You know, if I was gonna, if we were in a simulation of some sorts, and we were going to hide information so other people, other things couldn't find it, but other things were going to hide it from us. They would put a mask on the information, right? So you're playing peekaboo
Yeah.
constantly. This is a cosmic peekaboo game. Oh, you're real?
Yeah.
Oh, peekaboo. Oh, look, it's a virus. Oh, peekaboo. Oh, look, today it's this. Oh, peekaboo, right? It's how you stand in that and how you
Yeah.
get from A to Z. How I did it. I was afraid of deer. I was afraid of, dude, I was afraid of everything. And I was a dude that'll punch you right in your fucking face. And I wouldn't do
Yeah.
it on purpose. I was a good guy, but you fuck with me, I'll just go after you. I would rip your door off to get to you,
Yeah.
right? But so I went from rage monster
Mm.
to where I'm at, A to Z, without skipping a letter, without skipping a being, right? Because you can't skip.
Not,
I used
not,
to tell
not,
very
uh,
popular radio hosts the same thing. I'm like, how do you know if you don't get in the arena with it? When you talk
yeah.
a lot of shit and you get in the arena but still watch as if you're commentating from the outside,
Yeah. So
you're
think about
not gonna.
this. So I think this this makes more sense. What you just said it too resonates more. Why this paradigm has always resonated with me. Or I think I really developed this from a conglomeration of things. I'm sure I don't know if it's my own idea, but whatever. It's the metaphor of like when you're helping people, you know, even as a therapist or as a friend or any dynamic. It's not. And again, this is beyond just the basics of boundaries, having healthy boundaries with people. That's fine, you know, but at the same time, there's that can be just like a base frequency so that you don't just have to stand on the dock while they're drowning and just yelling at them, teaching them how to swim, or finding nice light and love working ways to just send energy at them to how to swim. It's like at least throw them the ring, motherfucker. There's a floaty ring. Throw them some shit. At least if you're not going to get in there and help, like throw them some shit. Jesus, you know,
Yeah,
energy's
telling
great,
me
right? But
you
doing
just
practical things. But then also, okay, so here's the thing. This is beautiful, and then because you and I can go forever, which is great. So like, so then, but instead, getting in the water, man. And there's the thing. It's an interesting dynamic because you understand as a lifeguard. I mean, I think maybe learned this from movies over time, or I've verified this with a lifeguard I met once or twice. But like, it's a real thing. Where you can't rescue someone who's refusing to struggle. Like if they can't swim, they're freaking out. Their nervous system's kicking in, the reptilian side, if you will, the more base side, survival instincts. And so they're lashing and thriving. If they can't get some kind of cognitive function to chill out, then the person, if anyone who comes to rescue them, it will drown the person rescuing them. They have to find some level of their own center. But the thing is, man, we can jump in the water and be really close and be present with people in whatever way they need, cleaning their fucking yard, man. Like you did, Frank, just that thing. I mean, all the development of that action, but look at all the beauty that's flowered from it. That was one amazing little seed. It wasn't little. I mean, look at what you did. I'm not saying it's little, but little in the sense of no one thought to do it for 20 years. Everybody's shitting and cursing on him and cursing the thing, and nobody fucking lifted a finger, man. Like that's
yeah,
the thing. You just went and did it. So like, it's not just like we talk about those things like that you live that life, you know. And I think a lot of us in this chat, not all of us do, or at least we strive to. It's like that you just be authentic in every part of your life, and we are all learning and growing. And as things come in our awareness, then we learn to how to rise to that occasion in some way, to find some form of coherence in that. But the fact that it comes to our awareness at all is a beautiful progression in thought for anyone in any dynamic, and that happens with me all the time in so many areas.
yeah, and you know what? It should always happen. It's like a flower that just keeps budding,
Yeah,
right? Each
yeah,
fractal of the infinite fractal of life, and the first thought fractals out on everything else,
mm,
right? You got to get in there. You got to get in there and bloom. Right now, I know a lot of listeners, people in the chat and stuff, probably already
mm,
know all this stuff, right? But some people come late to the party, right? Remember, everything I do, Paul is already there for the most part,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And she's like, "Oh, welcome to the game." But we always bring a perspective that maybe has been unearthed or watched from an observation point that you were not aware of, right? And then
right,
adding that to your resume,
yeah,
taking with it what you can use for you is the greatest thing ever because we're just
mm,
paying it forward nonstop, right? And then it comes back around. It always comes fucking back around. I told you this. I was looking for something. We talked about this last week. I'm not going to say what it was, but I was looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't leave my house. I literally couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine having the ability to do everything you need to do, but you just can't leave. And I just thought, yo, man, I fucking need, oh, it would be so good if I had this. And boom, the dude called me and was like, I'll be right there. And I went, whoa. That happened in less than 15 minutes. But the thought was strong because I was like upset. But I said, you can't
Yeah.
get upset. You're a businessman. You get a you're spiritual. And I says, no, I love, I love being able to do what I can do. I just want to be able to do it. Right. And then boom, it happened. And I went, now your awareness to this and recognizing it. Like if I just picked up the phone and said, yeah, boss, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you're failing to see the bigger picture. But when your awareness kicks in and you're like, oh, I'm grateful for this. I saw that it worked within 15 minutes and I love it. And I wish more could be like this. Expect way more incoming because it's nonstop. There is no run out of battery on this charge.
Hmm.
It's infinitely fucking epic.
Hmm.
That's it. So you have to like believe in it, bring it out, feel it,
So
say it.
like it's interesting because my own timeline on that began to come to my awareness when I was uh when it came to my awareness probably 2014 ish, something like that. Um, just deep in my own knowingness, which I would have said was the Lord at the time, but the Father voice or the very deep part of it that to me is my soul, or the conglomeration of all my experiences that I've ever had, or at least incarnations on Earth or something. And it's that deep-seated knowledge or stillness, in a sense, like within. I don't know. I'm trying to parse a lot of things there, but within some form of the connection to ego, to self, to spirit. I don't know. So, but I just had this knowingness, deep knowingness, and this settledness, as if everything from this point over, it's done. What like I position myself correctly, interdimensionally within linear time. Every timeline I have is beautiful from here on out. Period. Right now, granted, that was 4 more years in a marriage that was not wonderful, but I really found a rhythm very shortly after that point within that dynamic. Here's a story I haven't really told. Like, actually, I just haven't had context to tell it or whatever. So part of my second like big awake, I would say second, because I was into this stuff and figured a lot of this stuff out through experiences, casting out demons, being a lot of diving into those understandings and paradigms and the spiritual dynamic as far as I could within the Christian dynamic. And there's a lot of beautiful ways to understand it in there, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm inside of this isolated relationship, and then this subtle shift starts happening. I mean, subtle but huge, right? And then shortly after that, my second like really big, I guess, expanded understanding. I think I got my screen name somewhere around that time. That came to me, synchronistically, or that YouTube name, Gmail name, and so part of that dynamic was there was a week I went, I think maybe 6 or 9 hours of sleep for the whole week at kind of ram times, and worked every day. But I'd be plowing through material during the day, and at night I'd come home and I'd be downstairs and I'd be typing, or I'd be, because there's so much shit that I went through, so many different like meditations and things, certain frameworks that I used to like do. I mean, I spent literally all day and all night engaged in and I wasn't tired. I was fine. I was totally energized. Like I was doing just fine on like zero sleep at all, and totally engaged. I was down there singing and dancing and worshiping, and it was fine. Like to her, just in that dynamic, it's not that that was super weird because we were part of charismatic churches. It was a little weird that I was so enthusiastically doing it, and just more that she was upset that I wasn't during that time. I was very asking for the space to do this and wanting her to join me, wanting her to come down and just be a part of whatever and have the conversations or have dinner. We'll have dinner down there together, but I want to stay here and do this week or whatever. I was doing this. And she just kind of got more and more upset and went up and did her thing. So that's fine. So I did my thing. But during this whole week, like it's an amazing dates aligned. Like I saw when that started, according to the Hebrew calendar, I believe it shows like that the birth of Aaron in the Bible, the brother of Moses, Aharon, the high priest, the Aaron's rod and staff, which is in a lot of the texts and traditions, the sapphire rod. Anyway, so that he died on the day that acceleration started for me. And that acceleration started like the day Aaron died, or an aspect of Aaron, or egoic Aaron, or Aaron not in knowing this more so of who he actually is. Right. And even to the Christian dynamic, that's interesting. Aaron in the Hebrew dynamic. So those roots in me at a core level, like having hold over me, died and allowed me to dive into those texts in beautiful ways that expanded my understanding. I mean, literally, it's why it's the name, man. These kind of things. This came to me sometime and like, I was like, man, it's perfect, And so diving into that, into those texts without those binds or those chords, allowed me to find expansion through that paradigm, that simple set, that construct in beautiful, beautiful ways. It made me a better and better human being, like ayahuasca for you, right? Because we're coming to a place, it's not about our past story. Frank and his story, he got saved in a sense by ayahuasca. Aaron got saved by Jesus, right? It's way more complicated, right? That's very, very, very belittling, but we get it. To us, we get it. But like, it's way more than that, man. Obviously, look at our dialogues now, man. And it's more about us being humans and us being present with each other and having these conversations. We can laugh and enjoy each other's upbringing and past and the way you are, like, the way you talk, Frank, and all those things. Like, I enjoy all the ways that you are, because we're in a new world, man. This is like, it doesn't matter where you came from when we have the same heart or same soul and some time or some frequency, and like, and so that's, again, I mean, to plug the space, but that's just great because this is all naturally happening, organically happening just by holding the space.
Dude, they wanted aliens. We're right here.
Yeah, man.
You want some aliens for you? We got some aliens for you.
Right here.
Yeah, and we got, it's like children. You got to get over. The children don't even have racism, right? They're just kids, and there's every color, every
Yeah.
nationality, every race. And you want aliens, right? But you don't want
Yeah.
the guy next door. Yeah, it's like, come on. Look, we come in all shapes, all sizes. We're from all over. And it's hard for every one of us. Yeah, there's a couple of jerk offs in there. We get it. But now it's time to sit in the collective circle, right? The Justice League, as well as every other superhero team, right, has the girl from Africa, the guy from New Zealand, the girl from the Ukraine, the guy from America with the cowboy hat, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're all there, right? And then when he activates his power, he looks like Shiva. Shiva's there, right? So we got blue, black, brown, yellow, orange, red, green, purple. This is fucking great. It's not bad. It's fucking great. It's never a negative. It is the most beautiful thing. And Aaron, I was thinking about this as you were telling.
Yeah.
Well, everything that you went. This is what makes it so personally awesome. You had to do all that to be in the position you are now, to be unlocked the way you are. So, like me being in jail, right? Like, I didn't go to jail for something bad, right? Like, it was stupid.
Yeah.
The dude was robbing my house, right? So, whatever. Anyway, but I had to go, because if I didn't go, I wouldn't have learned what I did. It actually made me a better person. I lost weight. I learned how to exercise properly again. Being out of college and football and lacrosse and shit, I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn to love myself.
Yeah.
Right? You had to learn to see, dude. What I was seeing was the archetype of the Aaron, as you were talking, right? And you have a heavy aspect of that. You're named Aaron. So those of you that are named Aaron, those of you that are named Adam, will experience these things because it's you, the character. So you have to live that, become aware of it, feel it, then tell the story, the details in the story. That's what makes it all beautiful and always interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
And Aaron was he was as a high priest too. They knew the oral history. That was very, very important as a role. I mean, I'm just making this connection now. So dying to the old ways of telling the oral history, because every new generation is new. So you take the symbol sets of the old generations that communicate the purest truths of whatever that is. I mean, well, what's the purest truth? It's like, whoa, chill out, man. Once you're in
Yeah, yeah.
once you're in the realm of pure truth, I mean, please, it's not parse that. We can all have our favorites. But the point is, like, choosing those realities to exist within, like within ourselves and within the way we engage with other people and engage with ourselves, using the experiences of our upbringing to integrate our present, our past into the present, our present into the past, all of it into the singularity of you, because it's all
And we're
you,
all,
man.
and yes, it is. And we're all breaking free, all right, of you're basically reprogramming your mind to work
Mm,
the way it was meant to work and then evolving through it all in the same time, right?
yeah,
One of the craziest things that you can do, right? Well, it should speak on behalf of who you are that you're doing it.
yeah.
It should speak volumes to anyone. Like, we are it. It is us,
Mm.
right?
Right, man, it's
That's,
all of us.
yeah,
You tell the
yeah,
story.
that's,
You create your history. That's why it's important too. To part of inner work, if you will, a facet of what could be, say, I don't know, basics or normals of inner work is dealing with past childhood traumas and our upbringing, being able to
yeah,
reconcile that our expression in these avatars, that we came in knowing in advance certain things, but that helps. It really does when you're able to tune into your higher self, your higher level of awareness, deeper level of you, because it's all within you. Even your higher self, to me, it's not outside of us. That's still coming in through our heart, through different aspects of the interdimensional organs that our bodies are, but also through, the spiritual energetic dynamics, but that it's within you. So it's tuning into frequencies within you and being able
and
to go ahead.
you're, no, you're the living, uh, organic supercomputer. Right?
Mm,
You're not artificial. You're the organic consciousness in a body that's been programmed. It's programmable, and you're unprogramming it. You know how fucking difficult that is. It's your path. We may all be
yeah,
walking on the path, and all
yeah,
paths lead to Oz. However, it's your path.
yeah,
Ours might join. We might have similarities, but nonetheless, you have to reprogram your computer through force of fucking will. You're like,
yeah.
no, I'm overriding the program. I'm gonna make the tiger stand on his two legs and fucking talk to me and give me a high five. That's what's happening.
When
And you're
and
like, get the
CS
fuck out of here.
and C.S. Lewis, I think it was, said something to the effect I've recorded maybe from something, but sometimes it's better, it's easier. He's found in his psychology or whatever that it's more effective to lead people with a white horse than with pain and torture or something. And the point was, and they've done studies on the research of this, but like being able to, that's why, like, I've talked about it recently, I think in the last show or two or whatever, had these really profound experiences growing up, spiritual experiences when I was in the theater when I was like 12 years old. My parents are going through a divorce, the saddest part of my life, like very insecure, very disconnected, very alone internally, and understanding what's going on in this movie, The Prince of Egypt. And during the burning bush sequence, the animation, the score, being in the theater, the visuals, like the all of it, like I was just weeping tears down my face in exhilaration, like in my being, in my soul. Like I'd felt more of my soul in my body than I've ever felt before. And so being able to cling to moments of beauty when you have interactions with other people, when you feel something you've never felt before with someone, doesn't mean you have to cling to that person. But if that's something that healed you, like if someone behaves to you in a fatherly way and you've never had a father figure in your life, like receive that love and that energy of like, wow, if my dad had been like that, how would it have affected my childhood? Meditate on that. Go back and like add that frequency to your childhood experiences now in real life in some way, shape, or form. A boss, maybe a really cool, good boss, not stereotypical asshole bosses, or like, a coworker or a peer. Some people, it doesn't matter, they may be a similar age, they have a father energy, at least in your interactions with them or at certain times in your interactions with them. So like really being able to receive from people in that open way, that we can integrate that all into ourselves. And obviously there's special relationships and dynamics, sure, but the point as a principle, like you're able to receive openly from other people the things that they are providing to you that are healing and beneficial, and especially like for that purpose.
Yes, absolutely. And each individual brings a new flavor to that table. right? So we'll be able to add dynamics to this to help healing processes instead of fighting and resisting everything. Oh, that's whack, or that's gay, or that's this, or that's that. It's like, dude, every time you do that, you're shutting down the real you. I would have never thought in a million years that some guy named Aaron that looks like Space Jesus came to my house, that I had to grab his head and look into his eyes to unlock something in me.
Hmm.
You couldn't. You could have just kept throwing money at me, and I wouldn't have guessed that shit either.
It's so funny though, because like how that progresses for each of us differently, because I have things like that in my life too. Like honestly, the video we were watching during the first one, by the way, if anyone who's tuning in now wasn't with us during part one, we were watching a little too many Comedy Central clips on the video and having a great time. So we're working, if it's not up already, we'll work on getting that put back up, because I would really like to see those videos again. Like they're really funny. So the one uh uh oh shoot, totally lost my train of thought. What I was saying?
The, the the comedy. I think you were getting to the skit that was funny that me and you use,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, yeah,
Right? Because we were having a great time earlier. By the way, that shit you were showing was so funny.
yeah,
We connected
dude.
and we were like, "Yo, bitch," and I told her what, right? I,
Yeah, that's
yo,
that's another Key and Peele. So good.
dude, Paula and I do that. She does that to me.
Is
She
that,
does.
hold on? I'm trying to remember. Did you see that video when, is that the first time Paul and you saw that, or you seen that before?
I never saw that.
And so I was the first one who showed it to you, and you do
Yeah,
Paula do that all the time now?
yeah.
Awesome. Keep going.
No, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Right?
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? So
Yeah.
as that moments like that happen, I go,
Oh, there we go.
it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? And people are like, what do you mean it's meant to be? I'm like, let me tell you something. I laughed so fucking hard. And then it became a reality to me. And we started, because
Mm.
that's real.
Yeah.
I know 100 dudes like that. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't fuck with Paula. I anytime I give her shit, I'm usually doing it comically.
Yeah.
So then I'll be like, "Yeah, you heard me. You fucking heard me." And she'll go, "What? Say that again." And I'll go, "Bah, bah, 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 bitch."
That's a
Dude,
way to funny way humble yourself, but you don't really have to eat crow. Well done, sir. You figured out the game. You should write a class and have a segment on Expanded Understanding's YouTube channel.
she's so funny. She came over and sat in my lap one day, and
Mm.
she's like, "You're my bitch." And she was rubbing my head, and I just looked at her. I'm like, "You're fucking nuts. Get off me." Right? And then she
Go ahead,
goes,
get off me, but stay here, stay here.
stay here, get off me." Right. So, all right. Anyway, so this is designed almost beforehand by us to break something like a lock on us and release something, and the laughter, and it remains, which allows us creativity and all this shit to expand, and it becomes fun again and fresh. And I didn't even know this was there. And thank God
Yeah,
Aaron introduced this to me, because now that me and her are laughing constantly, we got like a
yeah.
new thing. All right.
So,
As soon as we enter the optimum timeline and we wind up running into each other and we grab each other's heads and we look into each other's eyes, we're like, we're supposed to unlock right now. It's what we're supposed to do.
yeah,
It brings forth that, like, it's actually healing. It's like, oh, I
yeah,
see Frank needs this right now. And then little Aaron, Space Jesus, goes, hey, yo, check this out. And he's just being funny playing videos, but it
yeah,
releases and then causes something, a tidal wave effect on someone
yeah,
else's life that becomes a permanent standard of, we won't take less than this.
yeah.
Like, you can't have less than this in your life.
Yeah,
It's
isn't
this
that
and more.
beautiful? And that becomes a choice once you find those beautiful frequencies in your life. I mean, it's time, like, right? I mean, it's diet is a different thing. There's times anytime we've talked about this a lot of different times, don't diet joyfully, no matter what you're eating joyfully. in like gratitude and joy. It puts your heart and body in coherence. You can get parasympathetic going, like it. So it's more about your internal state. Okay, granted, eating healthier, you don't have to put as much energy into transmuting it, I guess. And that's where I'm at, right? So there's progressions. There's a resonance I found when I have fasted, when I have done extended like 2 week water fast and done other things. Like I know what happens in my body on many levels, many levels. It's beautiful, right? I love the way that feels. So I hold on to that feeling and I use that to boost me into going other times of doing it again. But then it's holding that, and in between the times I've done when I come off fasting for a month, I'll just have like one soup a day or something. It's so great. It's wonderful. I'm satiated. I'm happy. It tastes wonderful. It's like just your energy's great. Everything's balanced internally. Like, there's lots of awesome shit cleansing happens just from you not feeding parasites in a lot of ways, depending on what you eat.
I lost weight since that conversation with you. Do you know how many times I reference the ice cream? Do you have any idea how much I reference that as proof in the pudding? And then me standing there going, me owning my shit, right?
Mm.
And just going for it. No, I'm gonna fucking enjoy this. I'm gonna do it, and doing it in this weird moderation that you enjoy it from the start to the finish, from when you pick the spoon out of the
Yeah.
drawer to whether you choose to put fudge or
Yeah.
sprinkles or just right out of the fucking carton.
Dude,
I'm just gonna
Frank,
eat it.
Frank, the other night, this is going to be normal to our conversations probably because we're doing so many shows. The other night on the show, I don't expect you to have known what I'm talking about. That's why I'm referencing it this way. The other night on the show, I was at my parents' place and my grandma made me a bowl of ice cream. And like in the middle of the show, it got real casual, kind of like these do. And I'm eating a bowl of ice cream, going through the comments. People are putting shit in the comments, telling me what to Google, Googling shit, putting it up. Like, well, I'm eating a bowl of ice cream, and I was loving every second of it. Like the ice cream, I mean, it's my point in this. It was just funny that I was doing that on camera because I ate like a half carton of ice cream when I was at your place, remember?
Dude, you took it down like a champ, and you were like,
Mhm.
no, go ahead. And then you were like, but check it out though. I'm gonna love it. And I know this one. I don't remember if the one you were eating said GMO or non-GMO, but you were like holding it, going, "Yeah, I know it's not perfect. It's not this shit in there, but I don't eat it all the time. Right? Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna enjoy this shit. Like I want to have fun and live my life. If this is like a place of sampling,
yeah,
so you could sample all this stuff and it tastes good. It makes me feel fucking good. It reminds me of
yeah,
grandma,
man.
right? Like
Yeah,
specific flavors and shit. And then so I applied that as metaphorically to my life when
yeah,
you said that. And then when someone questions me, because they always question you,
yeah,
I bring up the ice cream to keep it simple.
yeah,
And they're like, well, how are you doing that? I'm like, I'm owning my fucking shit. I'm
yeah,
owning
man.
it. I'm taking responsibility. Paula tells me this in state. She got to own it. And I go, tell me, Paula, what do you mean exactly own it? Now I know what she means. But she's like, look, motherfucker, if you're going to be lazy and you're just sitting around, say, I'm going to be lazy and I'm sitting around. And then make another decision on it later. I'm going to still be lazy. But if you're
Yeah,
not making the decision, you're wasting space.
yeah,
You're just sitting in this purgatory kind of. But when you own it, this other thing happens. Yeah, I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to be under the covers. But you know what? I feel fucking good and I love it. And I don't give a fuck what you think, right? So then
right.
after a while of feeling that, you're like, oh, now I want ice cream, right?
Yeah, no
And then you
doubt,
can have
man.
the ice cream or you want a cup of coffee or you want the, and then it's like the best tasting because I made it
Yeah,
with love and it's the
it's
greatest thing ever.
and another way of
And
saying you made it with love is you made it without belief systems around it that make you feel some kind of shame or decoherence or guilt or it's like, man, just fucking eat it and enjoy it. You've already decided, like I know in my nervous system it's one. Like over my soul or my spirit, like, nope, nervous system one, we're getting ice cream tonight. So it's like my soul's like, all right, well, let's get on board. Let's get some fucking ice cream. You
that's
know,
what's
like
up, man.
there's you gotta know your limits. I mean, you gotta know where your ego's like, nope, this is too much for me. That's why, like, I mean, if you think about this, I guess in the stereotypical dynamic with guys and girls, or if guys know they're in a situation where they're going to be tempted to cheat on their wife or cheat on their girlfriend or whatever, and they want to be faithful and whatever, they don't, and they know for them, if they're hanging out at parties and they're having a few drinks, for them, that 2 or 3 drinks, they start to get to a place where they're not really in control, right? They need to know their limits. So you put up boundaries. Okay, maybe if I'm, because I want to honor this relationship, I don't want to do this. then I only have 1 or 2 drinks, or I don't want to push the line. I only have a drink, or I only go when she's there, whatever. But choose your own boundaries based on your own limits for your own value systems, right? The same thing for everything I just laid out. I just on the inverse or converse or something.
Do you remember you,
Probably, tell
and
me.
Angela, me and Angela and Paula sitting in the living
Yeah.
room, and you
Oh,
were
fuck yeah.
cheering, like, this is how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
So instead of choosing the club and how many drinks to have, because there's this, that, or the other thing, and all these things
Yeah.
that are going to draw you into something else, right? We were sitting there and literally exposing ourselves to DMT, and then being in the moment, in the now moment, and releasing and being like, yo, this is the most epic shit you can fucking do. And we weren't like going nuts. Everyone, I've never seen girls and guys all sit together and be like so casually awesome about what we did.
No
Yo, we
doubt,
got
huh?
this. And just like, dude, it was another thing. So when you're
Dude,
saying
man,
the club and this and that, I
yeah.
go, I used to do the club. I fucking hate the club.
Yeah.
But I also didn't really know this existed like this.
See, look, okay, right there. Hold on, here's a beautiful like life human lesson to know ourselves too. Because sometimes we think when needs are actually wants are actually needs. And it's because we don't know any better, you know? So it's like the club seemed to satiate social, sensual, sexual, a lot of different needs. More beyond that for yourself. You enjoy the beat, the movement, all that shit, the engagement with women or whatever in that dynamic. But then you find something else or hang out with people in that way. That's the way that you seem to get along. There's humor. There's like you guys do take care of each other's backs. There's a level of like love and fidelity there, and like all the good shit. That's great. But
Everything
then
that we did made my life better in
yeah,
every way. I can't tell you how, like, it's when you take the club experience. I'm trying to metaphor this. You have
do
the
it.
club experience, and then you do what we did, or how we did, which anyone could have their version of that. It stays with
Yeah,
you forever, but it
yeah.
upgrades you forever.
Come on,
Like
man.
the club never upgraded me. All right, yo, let's get some chicks tonight, bro. I was a rock star, bro. For me, I wouldn't really go to the club like that. I just go stand out front for 2 minutes and people were mobbing me. I'd go run inside, and then there's a fight would break out, something weird would happen. We'd have to leave, and then
Yeah,
everyone who I was with can just hang out with whoever the fuck they want to because everyone's
yeah,
available. It's like, well, there you go. All right, those crazy moments. I look back at and I'm like, well, that's an experience for sure. But then they get
yeah,
dull after a while and they lose their flavor. It's like the same thing repeated with different skin. And you're just like, nope, 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 nope. Why do I keep doing this? Nope, nope, nope. I have a Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or was it Friday? When you were like, every day is Friday. Like it literally
yeah.
changed everything forever in the best possible ways.
Hmm.
The club never did that for me. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
laid.
man.
Yeah, I performed for people, right? Well,
Yeah,
right now, I'm 45 years old, smoking a joint in my grandfather's backyard,
yeah,
talking on the podcast. Nothing better in the world.
yeah,
So it's better than that. And yet they were experiences. The moment it was amazing, but what we did, well, it's like a forever amazing, like daily. Like it literally changes you
yeah.
in every way the good.
Okay, so taking this concept, which I love, the way you can't feel something you've never felt before. That seems really interesting dynamic. Seems to work a lot. So, and yeah, everything you just said. And so you'd only experienced before upset at the club or those dynamics, relational dynamics. Then you encounter people where you can be present with, and it's not necessarily sexual at all. It's just like like it's just beautiful human beings hanging out together. You love each other, and we were doing that the DMT in a joint and passing that around. And the intention was to stay present and just continue dialoguing. It's just whatever we were talking about. We were chatting and just being present. Like Paula was finally relaxed. She's doing stuff during the day. She's relaxed. We're sitting down, just relaxing together. And that was and we
It
were
was
having
the
a
greatest.
conversation. And having it was interesting, even having Angela, hi.
Yeah.
All right, if you're on camera, I'll come back to camera, and then Frank can come back and do his half white, half black shadows whenever he's ready.
Good morning.
Morning. What's
Good
going on with you, Angela? What's on your mind? You can skip small talk and dive right in if you want, or whatever is on your mind, promo shit, or whatever is on your mind to do.
No, I just sort of arrived really. I thought I'll just get up and see what's happening. And you're still broadcasting. It's so lovely. So it's just like this continual stream of airwaves going on. And I just tuned in, that's all. And I thought,
Oh,
Frank's here. Hello, Frank.
Hi, love. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm having a great evening. I tried a microdose and accidentally just ate everything.
Yeah. Oh.
have you? Okay, Angela. Let me fill you in. Have you heard any of the shows so far?
No.
Okay, so when you go back at the beginning of this one, the first one we got cut off because of copyright issues because we were watching funny videos from the internet, but they were from Comedy Central and we got cut off. But this beginning of this one, which will be part 2 or whatever, Frank comes on and he tells his just beautiful story. I mean, of this experience he's had in the neighborhood, helping out a neighbor clear out the yard that no one's even thought to help them for 20 years. And Frank decided to just go over and help. And the whole neighborhood comes around, offers money to help take away the trash. And like they come over, someone come over to help. They're going to start a community garden. Frank and Paula might move in there, like around the corner with the yard,
Wow.
right? Like crazy stuff, man. So he goes through his whole story. And then and just and also Frank's also very much in tune with the fungi of the earth right now, and he's had very beautiful expressions. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we
Wow,
were
that
just
just sounds like a
literally,
miracle.
Angela, right before you buzzed in, we were talking about you.
Yep. People are
Right?
calling for it. Frank, people are calling for it in the chat. They're like, "Oh, Angela, I want to see Frank and Angela again." Yeah.
Oh, no, just hearing Frank's voice and just remembering and missing you and Paula. Oh my goodness, I had to come on really.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to have you. I was saying when you were in the house the last time, how the experience we had was something that, like, growing up, we go to
Yes.
nightclubs and we party and we do shit, and you think like that's the real deal, right? Like, oh, I got laid, and me and my friends picked up girls or whatever, reverse. And then we had a night that we had, and it was like a huge, conscious, expanding, fun, so much love, so much just relaxation of awesomeness. And then you could have a whole lifetime of clubs and then do that one day, and it change. Hanging out like that changes your life. Like, it's not just a hangout, but it's like the way conscious beings hang out. So it should always be that expansion. And then when you're in the club, it's not expansion, right? It's the same routine over and over. You got your little dance moves, the way you smoke your cigarette, the way you hold it, the way your cologne or something that you wear to the club, the suit you wear, and your style, and then that plays out. It's like you're wearing a fucking mask. Like, we were just all sitting in a room smoking, having the greatest fucking time, and then it never left. So that one moment is still there, over and over and over and over, constantly teaching, constantly showing and improving, and with more perspective. Like, so isn't that the real deal? Like, why the fuck would you want to go back to the club if you become the real deal?
Yeah.
You can't ever really go back there.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful way to integrate. Instead of taking something, I mean, if we're talked about that, it's time for. Angela, there might be a little feedback on your speakers. Do you have speaker? Yeah, there's like an echo or feedback coming back, or your mic's near your speakers, maybe, or something.
I'm not actually wearing a mic.
Okay, or does the volume on your come through your speakers?
Yeah.
Maybe it's bouncing off the walls weird. Check.
Slightly different.
Yeah, I think that's better if that sounds okay to you. So,
is it okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay now. So it's interesting how it brings the dynamic from We're talking about that it's no longer the age of the monks in caves, but the monks coming to the cities. Neo shaman, that whole dynamic, really, in the purest sense of bringing that to each person wherever they at with whatever culture they are. Frank and I grew up in very different cultures. Look how well we get along, man. That's what happens when you find long lost brothers and you smoke DMT and stare into each other's eyes. Ooh, magic. No, it's human connection. And that's not like, oh, we had one experience and now like we have a relationship. No, we've spent like, I don't know, 80, 100 hours on the phone in the last year, and like we spend a lot of time together. Like we enjoy each other's people and jokes and like we get along and like, we really do connect on that level, but it's bringing that in to regular experiences. So to sit around with cool people, if you will, if you want to put them that way, people you're cool, people on that level where they're able to, whatever their experience is in this specific dynamic. There's other ways, but it's adding additional layers to why this is a cool. I think it's a step between the secluded shaman experience, very private experience. It's okay, and it certainly is okay if you never share that with anyone. Absolutely, I'm not saying that at all. But that where some people feel like that's the only way you're supposed to have shamanic experiences. So it's not you're not supposed to share it. Or you're not, and I think for me have had a lot of diverse experiences with those different dynamics. I mean, I've received for me the opposite, that those realms and those experiences are to be expressed, that this is the time to communicate those inner worlds and those expressions, as we experience them, and helping to find words to bridge the gap, this silly English 26 letter alphabet language, to try to bridge the gap between these infinite understandings of ourselves to experiences people can relate to, so they don't put you in a box. It's not about, oh, they're a new ager, oh, they're a Pleiadian, they're Arcturian, or like whatever they believe, man. Oh, they're, like, it's being able to be so present with all multiple dimensional aspects of yourself. You're just your local Jesus. Frank, you are your local Jesus. You wouldn't help the neighbor. They came out and helped you. That's the real kind of stuff Jesus, Buddha, them kind of did. Like my favorite, I think it's a Buddhist, I think Buddhist saying or whatever. But it's before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? Like being a good human being is a big part of it. It's pulling all the interdimensional stuff in, so it's present in your vessel wherever you go. Now, it doesn't mean if you're not in binding situations, you mean to get out of a marriage, you mean to get out of a dynamic. Like if it's not healthy, then so it's not using this paradigm to necessarily fuel a codependent dynamic, but to strengthen you in whatever dynamic you're in. So when you know it's time to move on, wherever you go, there will be coherence because you're pulling it all into you. We're not waiting to be rescued or for someone to save us. Put it into the vortex. That you'll find someone like Frank who just happened to potentially pick up a garden to do local gardening. Frank's been talking about on a show for a while and wanting to possibly do their own plants. They just don't have room. And like, look, maybe literally across the courtyard.
Dude, it's insane.
You're going to be able to
That's
grow so much in that space.
if things work out, it'll be beautiful. If if they don't work out, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no not winning in the situation I'm in because and I'm standing out there in this yard right now. It's getting fixed. It's getting done. You put the energy out there, and there they are. Angela, I was telling them, I know this yard is connected to like 8 or 9 houses. There's so many people here, and I started cleaning, and I'm like, where the fuck is everyone? Is anyone watching me? Going, what is he doing? Oh my god! And I look up, and the fucking neighbor at the back fence is looking over the fence at me, and he's like, hey buddy. And I look up, I'm like, I shut the machine off, and I go, hey man. He's like, my name's Joe. I'm like, I'm Frank. He's like, yeah man, are you working? I go, no, I'm the neighbor, and I can't fucking take it no more, and I just need to fix this. So he's like, I'm gonna get my saw and come in the yard. And he fucking jumps the fence. We cut down three of these ridiculous trees. The whole yard, I mean, overgrown, but it was up to my chest. It was ridiculous. And then we made that pile in the middle of the yard, and we still got more work to do. But people started coming. My mother came out and helped. Neighbors were offering money. Oh, we didn't know that was you. Oh my God, look what's going on. And I'm like, holy shit, it's happening again. Right. But I just go with it now because I expect it to happen. But when it happens, I'm still, you're never not surprised in
Okay,
the divine
so
game.
So
Yeah.
in that, just like we're talking about, you can't feel something you've never felt before. Talking about comparing, having that experience where we're all together, having that interdimensional moment, pulling those things all into us. And then, Andrew, I think it's still a little loud. Andrew, it's reverbing pretty bad.
Is that better?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Listen, I will love you and leave you in this moment.
Oh, okay. You getting ready for the day?
Yeah, I've just got a huge day ahead, so I'm just going to get ahead with that.
Yeah. Was there anything? Do you want? Let me give you space. Do you want to share anything, please? Expressions or thoughts?
Do you know, because when I wake up, I set an intention prayer for the day.
Yeah.
And maybe we could do something, 3 of us, 4 of us. Where's Zach? Zach, are you there?
Zach. Zach. All right. Well, we'll connect. We'll connect here. Angela, we obviously got me and Zach Messenger and directly, so we'll connect. But yeah, something that to do again. That'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, just setting an intent for the day of just. Would you like to start, dear? Would you start it?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I pull in the love of Frank Castle's etherical translator, Paula Milo, and sending love to the day. Sending love to every part of the day, not just the floofy love, but the love that brings coherence. An emanation of light that is a perfect fractal expression that is needed to bring beauty and coherence and alignment to each footstep that you make from heel to toe every moment of the day. Every breath in, and at the top, before the fall, those infinite moments. And as you descend and engage and clean your neighbor's yards, and do what comes to your awareness and find ways to love and to express in 3D, and then breathe in. And at that moment of helping, even in those middle of those moments, find that stillness and beauty in what you're perceiving and learning interdimensionally and in yourself and in the environment around you and what manifests. And as you breathe in your own space, even in every moment of the day, no matter how busy you are, even if you're just putting the last kid in one side of the car and you've got a few seconds walking to the other side of the car, being able to get just a few breaths and find deep, deep stillness.
May it be productive. May it be sacred. May every interaction with every being, physical and non-physical, be of peace, serenity, harmonia, hermosa. May love find you all in every single moment. May love find me in every single moment.
I send love ahead of the day today. And for every moment, every breath you take, and every now moment you remember, you begin to remember more. You begin to understand more. The complex becomes easier. The obstacles remove themselves from the path of the day. Everything from a cup of water to a bathroom if you need it, to a parking space. Just a friendly walk outside. May nature bend to your will and greet you at your front door. May you work symbiotically with those in your environment You learn to work with your neighbors, because everything that's happening on the TV is not what's really happening in the real world. And I hope you experience this. I hope you have compassion, and I hope you have love, and I hope you understand the struggle. And with that, take the day, take the chance that you wouldn't normally take. Enjoy yourself, laugh more, eat the ice cream, have dinner at breakfast, have breakfast at dinner, enjoy yourself, right? Have afternoon delight. Do a push
Yeah.
up, and if you can't do one, do a sit up. Tell yourself how much you love yourself, because I love you.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you. Oh my goodness. What
Yeah.
a beautiful moment to start the day. So blessed.
Yeah. Thank you, Angela.
Oh, love you all. Love you,
Love you
Zach,
too.
wherever you are. And Frank, I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Have an
With my
amazing
love
day.
to Paula. I know she feels it anyway.
She's here for sure.
Oh, love you, Paula. Bye.
Yeah.
Love you, Aaron. Love you, Zach. Love
Bye,
you,
Ange.
audience. Love you, chatters. Love you, Willow. Everybody there. And I pray all the time for you and us and everybody. Okay. I love
Yeah.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye, Ange. Dude. So on the dynamic of bring that in of the separation and bring that into self. So or bring that in from just the far spectrum of shaman experiences, the shaman of the mountain. And there's power to Zach. I mean, power to that Zach can tell you because his own experience. Like he found out that the tribe that we're helping through the Patreon, which is actually a great time to plug this. But Zach set up a Patreon account for this tribe. He's been to personally. It's where he went to down there. It's a ninth generation ayahuasca shaman. He spent a lot of time finding this guy, but then being a part of the tribe for as he was down there and fell in love with them and the people. And they need help because the tourist industry for ayahuasca is gone, and they need helping their villages. $900 will feed, I think, the village for 2 months, or it's $450 for the village for the month. And so we got a Patreon set up so you can do monthlies. We got a GoFundMe so you can do one-time donations. And there's no 100% of the money gets donated goes 100% to the people. So it's going to actually do what we need and want to do. So that being said, I don't want to make not sacred the actually going to the extremes anymore at all. That is still profoundly powerful and sacred. And I plan to have more of those experiences in my life for sure. Right. But that being said, also being able to pull that into the everyday life to have a culture of friends and around, like how many people could you do that? It's not like there's probably a lot of people and we know that have done DMT, but like to be able to in the moment all be cool with, hey, we decided to roll this joint with a lot of DMT in it. We're just going to pass it around. We talked about it a little bit. Is that cool with everybody? Yeah, sounds good. How? Who? Frank? Like who? But creating a culture though, where like okay, and the purpose was, and look, the beautiful things we're still talking about now about it, and they're still unfolding, and what happened then, and the interconnection into ourselves, into the people in front of us, perceiving each other, and additional layers of understanding, but also still being present in the body. Because sometimes we can have these dissociative experiences where people are wonderful interdimensionally, but in 3D they're pieces of shit, man, or they're just not there yet. They're not that connected to that part of themselves, and then we have this fantasy with that part of themselves, but that's not the person. It's just not. And like, are you willing to wait? I mean, I was willing to wait as long as I was willing to wait in my relationship before that line was reached, or before I felt I hit the saturation point. And really, for me, it was I felt I could no longer expand. And I was expanding a lot those last 3-4 years, but I could no longer expand without hurting her because the things I needed to expand into, just even research and things I was looking into, were hurting her. It made her feel violated or uncovered or unsafe because of her belief systems. And so that was the kind of the thing, and it led into and just the way she's handling that too was not beneficial at all. I slept by my choice in another room a lot. Anyway, so like but being able to go through that in that dynamic and then being able to come out of that and have the engagements that we have now, like beautiful, man. Like this is why I need to expand into to being around other people that I followed your podcast and I knew shortly into, like I was going to meet you. Now I need to meet you. I need to meet Frank. Like And they not even like I wasn't even thinking, oh, I mean, I think I did. I was like, oh, 'cause that's what I initially came to you about, but it was more just at a soul level, like, oh, I'm gonna meet Frank someday. And it's just in the vortex, and I started plowing through your material, and so even as I'm going through that, I was getting to know you, dude. That's part of it. Like we get along so well now because I've really gone through so much material. I know your soul resonance. I know your little avatar's soul history and all your nuances and your humor, and I have it too. So like I've laughed with you a lot, and so have a lot of people that have watched your show and whatever that have laughed with you a lot, and you don't even know, and that just all came with our friendship that was already there. So that's just a cool other layer to all that shit.
One of the other crazy things is when we had our first experience, you were like, I gotta look into your eyes and da. And I was like,
Yeah,
all right, I'm down. I saw us sitting on the other side, and then we were looking at each other like, all right,
yeah,
whoever finds the other guy has to do it, no matter
mm,
what. And then it was like, oh, yeah, no doubt. And then the separation, right? Like I saw the
yeah,
separation between us. And then it was the unlocking of, I guess, like little Frank and little Aaron. They get the unlock because the big guys already knew. So I was watching it from that perspective.
yeah,
And then we get the bonus, but it's us. Like we already knew each other. And
yeah,
it was like whichever one, man, whichever, because they didn't, I guess we were unsure of who would be in the position to do it
yeah.
because of
It's a
the
lot of
way the
variables,
timelines
man.
work.
Ten
So
thousand three hundred sixty-five families that could have been incarnated into, and they all had their own ups, pros and cons, if you will. Like there's a lot of variables, and that means future meetings, the timeline you meet somebody, maybe in one lifetime you would have been born down the street, or in a different part you would have met when we were like 7, and like been gotten along great then. Because I think or no saying dynamics. I'm talking about positive connections. Obviously, in certain like maybe dynamics we wouldn't have got along, whatever. I'm talking about the ones where the timelines where we connect, where when we connect, that's it, game on. Like at that age, even at a soul level, like we know,
that's
like
what I mean.
that's it. And so that's where we have to calculate. Some people we don't meet until I'm on my Jesus years, 33 years old. My excursion, go out to New York and Barbados and San Pedro and DMT with you and all these different dynamics. Do I actually meet you and other people? I've met so many people just in this last year through the Fearless group and through Angela through Barbados and the mentorship we did with Bartis over there, and like that whole dynamic. So like, and look how much Angela's like, me and Angela have talked as much as me and you have talked. Actually, more. Me and Angela have talked more, man. So I found these like beautiful other brothers and sisters that I connect
That's what I
with
mean.
in
You
ways
can't you
that are,
can't go back. You
yeah,
can't go
man.
back. Never, never, ever, ever, ever. I mean, we talk about like how the things that go on in life, and we're like caring to each other. I'm like, oh, that's fucked up or that's crazy. I can't believe that happened. However, there's also the genuine, I don't want to say childish, if a young person's friendship bond with their boy, like they go to meet outside and they become Riggs and Murtaugh, Cyclops and Jean Grey. They become, Merlin and the fucking Excalibur and meets this character. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah,
become the bond that's unbreakable. And you're like,
yeah,
yo, this is the greatest thing ever. Well, you got to have your guard down, first of all, for that. You got to be in a position to X, Y, and Z it. So, yes, anywhere in time that would have worked, but where it's necessary, right? We're
right.
on purpose mission this
Well,
round.
think of the new. Okay, finally, I can bring it
So,
back. The energy hasn't been here until now because I wanted cognitively to bring this back for like the last hour and a half, and I'm like, okay, cool. So. And I might have ruined it by taking that little trail to talk about it, but um, so the timeline's weaving, choosing when to come in time, us being able to. So there's some level of like, there's only one that works, but I mean, we're creating the optimal timeline all the time. The ways we got here now, like I've given this lots and lots of thought and had different experiences and different things, but the some of it's choice. Like really, there's choice. Like okay, once you narrow down certain variables that are must-haves, like 10,365 lifetimes would have worked in their own ways. Would I've been here doing this podcast right now? I don't think so. I think future timelines and frameworks, right? So I build realms and kingdoms or things, if you will, ahead of time in my own energetic work or engagement or internal worlds and imagination and heart visceral projection of what I feel is the direction I'm heading towards, and just have deeper and deeper resonance with, and have like my whole life in different ways, which is probably the whole Aries Sun Leo ascendant shit, which I guess makes sense.
Sun.
Sun. Right. So we have variables coming in for different expressions. Great. What is at this point, awesome. I'm Aaron Michael Kessler. I love Aaron Michael Kessler. I'm glad everything's worked out. I'm glad where I've been through my marriage and the things I learned through that, and the person I am now and the freedom I have now, because I'm not bound to someone I can't be fully authentic with. That sucks, man. Awful.
Dude, you can't be. All right. Jesus, as you're saying this, I'm like, you're just barely scraping the surface of the details of what has to be to get you here,
Mm.
right? Like
Right. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
right.
Scratching
It's
the
a choice.
barely scratching the surface.
People like to break it down to ones and zeros, and that's fine, right? Because
Yeah.
really it's turning to the light or turning to the dark, or judgment, no judgment, or fear or no fear, right? So
Yeah.
as you make these choices, there's demands all around you to do shit, and distractions and variables, constant. Okay, so think of all that, and then think of what the entire world has to do. Then think of the universe to have. Okay, so now we're expanding out from the minor details. I mean, all these crazy details to the inner part of just Aaron. Now it's got to work with Frank. It's got to work with Angela, because we need it. We need the optimum. You guys were coming through. You guys anchored the light. Why do you think why do you think you had to anchor your jump off at me?
Yeah.
I'll keep it simple. I'm on a ley line.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, no shit. Yeah.
I control my position. I had to fight for that shit. Reptilians.
Yeah, you did.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I fucked them up. They fucked me up though for lifetime. So, right?
True
I got
story,
you one
bro.
good time. True story.
Yeah, no doubt.
Facts. Truth. But they want that ley line like a motherfucker. When you guys came in, it was like poof. Okay, now think of the variables that had to get to that. Meanwhile, we're all going through our individual variables. Then there's all the way up to the universal and cosmic structures, whatever, as far as you want to go, to get to this one fucking moment where true purpose is released. Released to you. You remember. You remember. I remember.
Yeah.
When I say shit like I remember now, I remember now, I remember now during my meditations, I start remembering like hard.
Yeah.
They're like, don't you remember? I'm like, I do, motherfucker. All right. All those variables for the ears that are listening tonight, for those that knew, those that didn't, those that just came upon it and now are going to stick with it just because they heard a tweak. And I mean, in their own life, not just following us.
Yeah.
But it's where the interest, it's like the jump off. Like I tell people about Alex Jones, like they hate him. They're like, oh, I hate Alex Jones. I'm like, listen, bitch, Alex Jones, if he wasn't yelling in that, I live in New York and I was supposed to work, and my dad was on 14th Street when 9/11 happened, and he called me to say, bye, I love you, man. And he left a message. I fell asleep. I was hungover, and I saw the shit, and he said some shit that took me out of caveman Frank. Took me out of that just by yelling, you motherfucker, blah. Oh, they're crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like shaken, awoke, literally. And I was like, yo, I'm here. I see this. I see what's going on. Now, it doesn't mean Alex Jones should be whatever, but I'm respectful for him, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that moment, because without it, I wouldn't have got here. Another variable. I was sitting in the Ant-Man movie, bro. This was the craziest thing that ever happened to me at this point.
Yeah.
I was not on anything. I got high. Went to just see Ant-Man by myself. I sat in the theater, and Thomas
Best
the
times.
Train is in the movie, right? And he like takes the little train and makes it big, and it lands in the street. Okay, when that happened, I had a full blast gnosis recall. I went, what the fuck? And then I freaked out in the movie theater and just sat there, started breathing. And as I was breathing, I can see all the variables. Check this shit out. It was
Yeah.
um, everything from smells, touch, tastes, and moments, and then characters, right? So there was like Super Mario was on Thomas the Train,
Yeah.
right? As G.I. Joe was out in front, Thundercats were in the background, blah, 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 as well as the
Yeah.
touch, taste, this, all these things. And I'm like, what's happening? I could visually see this in front of me during the movie. And then it pulled together and unlocked a 3D lock. It was like the last thing needed was Thomas on him. And they were like, you unlocked a piece in yourself. You left nuggets to get to this moment. And then boom, it opened a golden room. And you've heard me talk about the golden room. When
Yeah.
I'm unable to access the golden 5D frequency, whatever,
Yeah.
until that moment, I couldn't do it. It was literally locked. My programming was locked. You have to
Yeah.
break the program. You're a creator. You overwrite the program. I did it by watching the movie by myself, high in the movie theater. And
Yeah.
then when Thomas came out, it was the last piece of the puzzle because they were like, dude, you had the fucking balls to do what you just did. You're a fucking 40-year-old guy. It's weird. You think you're a rock star, but you're ayahuasca shaman. But this is da 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 da. And man, you love superheroes. Let's see what's going on. Boom.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, holy shit. So every nugget in every piece of the platform meant for you to twist and turn and go left instead of right and up and down. And you're like, it's wrong. My whole past is wrong. It's terrible. I hate myself. It's like, no, you can't go back. You can't change it. Just move forward. And guess what? It's okay. It's not wrong because you're here now. Well, I could have been here when I was 12. No, you couldn't. Well, I'm fucking 60. So what? Or I'm 3. So what? That's what it
Yeah.
takes. The programming of the fucking um, the avatar, the physical skin suit is been overwritten by other things with physical choices that you have to make. But the choices are always bent in the favor of the casino. Know that.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you to choose with your money. Learn how to fucking say no. Say no to everything one day. Just tell everyone no. It'll make you feel fucking great. You'll feel empowered. Don't be a
So
dick. Just
Frank,
say no.
no doubt. So Frank, can you turn your video for one? I didn't realize you were back in.
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in, but it's hey, half black, half white. There he is. Yeah, Frank Castle. All right, two. So Jacob asked a question. He said, "Ley lines. Please explain this more to me. I see it, but don't quite grasp it. Or I should say, it feels like there's something missing to me."
Okay, quick explanation. I'll keep it simple. The Earth, right, is structured with lines that wrap around it. Look at the image above me. You see how it's lines?
Yeah.
Wrap that around a ball,
Okay, hold on.
and there's your ley
Because
lines.
I know you're going to explain this beautifully, but to dive deeper into the family here, just so we can get deep, because so you can answer in a way that I think will be really cool for you too. So Jacob definitely, I think, wants to hear how do you see it on an interdimensional level, being on not just the grid of the Earth or the grid, certain grid ley lines, but for you, like how do you interact with the ley line? How do you experience the ley line? How do you see the ley line? Like for you, like what is that in your reality?
Okay, so well, that's pretty detailed. So the subway is structured a certain way here, and I noticed that the way the power cables ran. Now, this was all relevant at one point because under multiple plant medicines, it just started revealing itself because the situations
Mm,
were dire and severe. Every
mm,
fucking time I did anything, I'm like, why is it always so violent and horrific sometimes? Like, it's just, and they're like, dude, you're anchoring the light. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'm anchoring the light. What the fuck does that mean? And what is this energy running under my house?
yeah.
Right? Like, you can see it. It looks like golden energy. And they're
Mm,
like, that's the earth, bro. That's the energy wrapping through the grids of the planet. You're on one node of that, which is a portal, and it's very important. Right there, and the subway hub is right under your fucking house. Right, so you
yeah.
pass through, and then boom, you could get out for the subway, and it's really
Yeah.
deep underneath, and you have to come up. But I'm a few blocks in. So as the length of the train, it's just weird the way it works out. If you'd seen it, you'd go, oh, that's what it is. It loops out on the angle. And I'm like, right on the fucking grid, and I'm on the corner. Hey, Aaron, you've been to my house, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So the energy that runs there um, is very helpful when you're unlocking or doing anything, actually manifesting. It's like you're working in symbiotic with mother's energy, and
Mm,
you're like piggybacking your creative energy off hers. What the nefarious ones do is try to lock those areas in, and
mm,
they try to keep it because those areas are fucked up. Sometimes
yeah.
you're like, why is it always fucked up here? But they're hubs. It's like the main area. You're like, why you can't keep this fucking place nice, right? It's because they're pumping their shit. They like lock in the energy. So you have everything from demonics to AI, reptilians. It's almost like they run little base of operations. They're like little jump off points for them.
Yeah.
So I happen to live on one. So every time I'd go under, I'd see the energy. It was just under the board, like the chessboard. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that stuff? It's like wraps into everything. They're like, that's mother. When you pull back from us, we look like that too, except we're
Mm,
shaped like a human. We're not like a ball or
yeah.
whatever Earth's shaped.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit. So they're like, yeah, well, the warriors descended on the ley lines, and all you
Mm,
guys feel that you're alone and so far apart. I'm like, yeah, well, I would have never done this without Paula. These things would have killed me. You don't know how many times I got attacked, and then it was so amped up that someone came to my rescue. I talked about it on all my early shows. Shaman
mm-hmm.
Gina saved me. The tentacle, like my door opened, it literally opened during our ayahuasca session, and I was like, what the
Mm,
fuck? So I went over and I pushed the door open, and it looked like a different place, like a different reality. And there were these, I don't know, man, they were like plant organic worm looking beings with tentacle things, and they were
yeah.
like rooted in, and this tentacle hit me in the throat. There's some weird shit that goes on, so I'm just going to tell
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly. So it
Yeah.
hits me in the throat, it knocks me back, and it goes down my throat, and I start gagging in the living room. And Shaman Gina turned, and I'll keep referring to her as that because
Mm,
people go, well, who else sees this? So Paula and her were sitting there, and Gina jumped up and goes, what the fuck? You're not supposed to be here, and you're definitely not supposed to be able to do that to him. So she shuts the door, and the tentacle falls off, and I start
yeah.
throwing up in the living room. So Paul is like, are you all right? So I go, how come every time we go under, this kind of weird fucking shit happens? Boom,
Right.
open the door. Another thing happens. My cat Squeak, they came into my home one night, and I was sitting there, and there was like this thing was, it was a gray alien, huge, skinny
Yeah.
but really tall. He had the most angry face, and there's a picture of this thing online, by the way. So he's like
Awesome.
got the black wrapped rhinos with the big head, and it
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
me, and I said, why are you doing this? I just looked at him and said, why are you doing this? And he goes, because I fucking hate you, right? And I was like, yo, that was, I just thought to myself, I don't hate anyone like that. I've been like, I made up with everyone, man. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, how could you hate me for something I don't even know? And then, because I didn't
Yeah.
have a concept where we're at today. I was
Totally.
meeting these
Right.
things for
Right.
the first time, so I'm breaking through
Right.
the
So
matrix, and
this
it's
is
all
also like,
AI.
so it's also like, realizing that the Christian paradigm, because like I said, I've been a part of like casting out demons, a lot of those different dynamics. I've been comfortable with those spiritual realities for a long time, and my own intuitive expressions, interaction in those ways, and working with energy in those ways. And but a lot of that was learning your own sovereignty, learning how valuable you are beyond just this lifetime, but also just because you're here this lifetime. It doesn't matter who you are. If like you feel like you're a really young soul, it doesn't matter, man. You're here. So even if you're a robot or an AI or program, like you have the choice to have a choice. You do.
You're exactly where you need to be. And if you are AI or an NPC, if you decided, well, I'm just gonna ascend and do it with everyone
Yeah.
else, like what makes me any different? You will do it.
Yeah.
Dude, if a fucking reptilian can do it, Fucking NPC can do it,
Come on.
right? Do you know? All right. So the greatest thing is like mimicry,
Yeah.
right? So just by mimicking, because you don't understand it, but you go
Yeah.
with the flow.
Yeah.
If you do it correctly, y- even if you don't understand, you'll start just to understand. I know this sounds so
Yeah.
fucking out there,
No,
but as you
totally.
begin to breathe and hit the meditation points, you'll start
Yeah.
getting the gnosis. Ayahuasca is an accelerant, right? So
Yeah.
if you just start wherever you're at and you're like, you know what? I don't want to be like this anymore. I notice my routines suck and the system, fuck them finally. Be like, yo, calm down.
Mm,
Just say, I'm taking the other path. I'm
yeah.
not going to deal. I don't accept this anymore. And you did it. You, right, Aaron, I've talked about
Yeah.
this with you. But when I had AI beef, right,
Yeah.
I was attacked at the table of everything that makes me up, me, right?
Yeah.
So the angels, the demons, the this, the that, they were all there. And it was like a part of the table hated me, right? Because those are the monsters, right? They're meant to hate you. So the
Yeah.
AI came in the room and just started, it ate one of the angels, like it just took him and then it put out a copy of the angel. It was like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And the angel was
Yeah.
gone. So everything with him and associated with him was gone. And that's my table though. It's a long ass table too. So then everything, and he ate the demon, did the same thing to the one that hated me. And I was like, yo. So everyone got up and was like, what the fuck? So I stopped. I freaked out, bro, really hard. And I
Yeah.
screamed like, ah, and everything slowed up. And I said, if you want to punch into work tomorrow and hate me tomorrow, you better work with me now. So make the fucking choice. Because this thing apparently, and I didn't know what I know now. So I was frightened to death. But I'm like, fuck this thing. You don't come in
Yeah.
my house and start doing this. But who knew? I didn't know. What the fuck? Right? All right. So one of the other demons was like, bro, I got you. I was like, what? He's like, I'm with you, bro. So now I say bro it, but he didn't call me bro. He was like, I'm with you because if he takes me off the table or takes you off the table, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm you. Like, we know that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, out of the worst one comes the fucking most knowledge. And he turned into a light being.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa. And he was like, thank you for the choice. So then being that
Wow.
demon became, it's not a demon, like, it's gone. As it's
Yeah.
just literally not a demon any longer.
Yeah.
It's another thing.
Yeah.
And it's part of me. So there's no demonic character there no more. Yeah,
That's
there's the
internal. It's the
fractal and all
same
that shit,
thing.
but
Well,
you
that's the same
transmute it.
thing, though. Internal ascension, ascension, is that you're transmitting your traumas, your fractals, even your demons. You find ways, some way to give them cake, right? To integrate,
Look,
to
me
be
and you,
present with.
we can't. All right, so if you and I are fighting, and it's been going on forever, and then something just rolled up on us and was like, bro, I'm gonna fucking kill both of you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin both of your lives terribly, and individually we couldn't defeat it. Like it literally beat the fuck out of us,
Yeah.
trying to keep us apart, trick us, deceive us, everything from mimicry to deception across the board, right?
Yeah.
Would you not work together to beat the shit out of that thing so we can get to hating each other later? But what does that usually create? Me and you become friends to overcome
Yeah.
the great enemy, the one that'll just take everything. And you thought you were bad, and I thought I was bad. This thing doesn't give a fuck. Whatever you
Yeah.
thought is wrong. And then we join now. Now we're here. We're all gathering. That's why the Jesus thing doesn't work anymore, right? It's like outdated.
Yeah.
Thinking Superman from outer space is going to come to save you is out of
Yeah.
We're here. We're right here. We're all jumping off right now. It's all of us. It's
Yeah.
the entire Justice League. It's the entire X-Men. All the Avengers. It's
Yep.
everyone. It's fucking Santa Claus, the Smurfs, the Fraggles, Sasquatch, UFOs. It's all sharks with fucking lasers.
Okay, so
Yes,
listen to
we're all
this.
here.
So, what are the keys here? This is interesting. So you said even having very recently have very positive reptilian or this and specifically experience with serpents, right? You were talking about that, and that's right. That's after what we did was take some of our crystals to Serpent Mound. Remember?
Mm. Maybe it took
Interesting
that
shit.
whole time, bro. That was my heart too. Right?
Mm,
Had a heart.
yeah.
Yeah. So I let you in. I was, and you know, this was so weird. I was greeting them. It was as if they
Yeah.
like rolled in on ships. It wasn't a surrender, but it I can't explain it. It's like you can't be there. Like you can't have like a fake, like, oh, this group of reptilians is gonna pretend that they're cool and they're just going to let them in and then the reptilians will kill everyone. No, you literally can't hit this frequency and
Yeah.
physically be here unless you did it. So there's like this open arm thing that happens and it's
Yeah.
like, yo, we get it, but you did it. And they were like, yo, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, it's you. It's you. Right? And all the hatred that was there wasn't there for me and those beings. It
Yeah.
wasn't there. Like I can stand it next to that one and like that whole crew and hug them, hang on them, play jump rope, hopscotch, football, hang out, have a fucking beer, not worried about them eating you. And then they worry about us, dude. Like people don't remember this yet, but when you do,
Mm,
the creator, when we say the all, you're the creator. That's a reptilian, although from source and a creator perhaps in that skin suit. You are all of it in the skin suit. You're all of it. So that's reptilian. This is whatever. That's a gray. This is Arcturus. This is Babylon, Avalon, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You're the creator. They all may be creators, but you're in the skin suit designed for the creator ascending. It's the first time it's ever happened. The most potent being in the physical dimension ever. And none of it has to do with muscles. None of it. Although it
yep.
does completely. It absolutely does, but doesn't. I can't. It's everything. When you say everything, all right, we're ambassadors, right? And they're like, what for
Yep.
UFOs? I'm like, no, for Earth, Mother Earth. I'm her ambassador, right? So what does that
Yeah.
mean? Right? It means you do the ceremony to make sure the ants aren't in the fucking yard, and to give the time for the raccoons to understand it's time to go, to get the energy through there, because you're not trying to murder, kill, death, destroy. You're living symbiotically with it. You're learning to work with it every day, all day, right? I'm telling you, this is what the horror thing that I don't watch the horror movies anymore. I don't even really watch heavy duty gunfights and shit like war movies or nothing. I just
Right.
it doesn't work no more because I don't want that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know it's there. It's cool. I get it. But is it cooler than the all?
Mm.
Right? Like I'm giving that thing too much credibility. Right? Like Freddy Krueger is getting too much credibility.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's garbage.
you're just a douchey
Garb.
demon.
Mhm. And garbage in, garbage out. I mean, it's like, still enjoying certain, not necessarily for you, but like there's still certain times there have been this horror movies, but in the right context, in the right way. It's kind of like eating food or junk food or whatever. So if there's the right context, you're doing it in a
Yeah,
way
I
that
can
it's
do it.
bringing joy and enjoying. But like for some people, or like you and your experiences, like certain people that you don't want to hug in a certain dynamic because you're
Well, you
insanely
manifest your
energetically.
reality.
Yeah, well, you're insanely energetically sensitive in a lot of ways. Like you really are a lot of bloodway shaman. There's a lot of different dynamics there with you going on that most people may not be. So
I
there's
laugh.
some extra
You should know
dynamic.
this.
Yeah, tell me.
You meet them one time, and you laugh
Yeah,
at all these movies.
yeah,
You laugh because it does nothing. The movie does nothing for it. When you
yeah.
meet and face your fucking demon, and then you become a shaman, and you're like, bro, I could smash a demon. And then you meet someone that had 50 demons, and they beat the shit out of you, and now you have demons again, right? And then you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
what did I do? Right? Oh, you go through that, and then
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You learn through these weirdo
yeah.
experiences, but you wouldn't watch that in a movie because you're like, yo, um,
Dude, what's interesting is that's what I learned that stuff though through Christian books, Christian practices, Christian groups as part of churches, like how to address things in the spirit, right? Safely, energetically, how to know your sovereignty, and like more I learned those things, I'd integrate that into myself. So when it got really activated in a sense or shifted into major additional levels of perspective this last year when I started doing entheogens and plant medicines and drugs like the whatever, then those ways where I'm intentionally doing that for the perspective that I'm gaining of myself, man, I'm still in my vessel for most of them, so they're adding additional filters and layers of perception, to
yeah,
my experience so that I can
and
be a more effective human being here for me, for myself, figuring out myself and so many, and just the experiences, like, music on mushrooms for one, there's just nothing like that I've experienced. It's quite great in the right dynamic, but like, there's things like that, right? But it's for everyday experience too. So enjoy every part of the experience. Thereafter, go ahead.
no, I got wrapped back into your thing. I got nothing right now. I'm loving the process of the transformation because your skin suit, my skin suit, everyone's skin suit is really um, technology, right? Come on,
Hmm.
Aaron. This is your thing, right?
Yeah,
But it's the highest truth, and it's opening into the parts we haven't used yet, right? So all of this and all the distractions and all the puppetry and the manipulation, that's here for you, me, for us, right? Why? Because you're that damn fucking awesome. That's why. So it takes all of that fucking shit and then make the choice, right? And then you make a choice that you don't need to make, and then it's like using your energy against you because they can't beat you. Nobody
yeah,
can defeat the all, and it's not a matter of like war and defeat. This is how you win the war. You ready?
yeah,
There's no war. I'm the all, right? Like I'm all the chessboards. I'm all the characters on all the chessboards.
yeah,
I'm the guy watching the game at home, right? I'm the guy that invented the game.
yeah,
All these characters already. So what makes you think you could fuck with me, Mister?
yeah,
I'm a reptilian. Rah. Yeah, you could rip me apart, but it's not a war of me fighting you. It's a war for my mind because I'm so powerful. So what are you getting at, Frank? You're like a genie, but better.
yeah,
Manifestation. What does that mean? Oh, what is he talking about? Manifestation, the vortex, putting stuff in your field. You're the great attractor, the great magnetic attractor, right? You
yeah.
bring to you what you want when you hold the frequency. Okay, so who else can do that? See, you can't.
Right.
It's the fucking all. Right? You got it. The only way to get the all to kind of fuck itself up is to make it believe it's not the all. So it uses its power against itself,
Yeah. And so that's what I
right?
was learning, like inside the Christian dynamic, is understanding who you are in Christ or Christ in you. Because when you do, the demons can't touch you. They can't affect you. You understand your sovereignty. You stand your ground. You're doing it in Christ's name, but you are doing it. You are the placebo. You are the engine that drives your reality. So if you want to channel that through an external thought form or entity or belief system, you're free to do that. This is a free world, but
Yeah.
it's a lot more
Explore,
cohesive
have fun, but
internally and,
watch
and
yourself.
beautiful when you do that inside of yourself, when you actually integrate those into yourself and you complete those cohesive units to actually cyclically spin your wheels, your energetic wheels, if you will, your energetic field with yourself, those parts of yourself. And so understanding, then that's how I can be outside the Christian dynamic like I am, yet it all carries over. I mean, it's like there's so much stuff that carries over at a human being level, loving people, treating people great. The other stuff I learned and remembered, reassembled about myself on my own in that dynamic, like awesome and even more amazing. You know,
You
but
got it. You are an etherical translator. Shh. Put you in. Shh. No, there's a whole group of you. You're all activated. You have a lovely way. That sounds so weird when I say that, but of
no, I get you,
explaining
man.
this.
It's a good
No, it's
it's good
all
bromance.
it's relevant on the discussion on A to B to C to D and activating your way through it by describing the different levels and layers that you're walking us through on each individual topic. Here we go. We're just getting deep, right?
Yeah.
You have the ability to break it down, use yourself as an example, and go from the alphabet straight through to make your point, right? Like if
Cool.
between you and I and a few others, you don't get the point and you have all the versions of us around, right? You just might just fucking run into a brick wall
Yeah, man.
and be like, "What's wrong with me?" No, because
And like,
it's right there. It's right
and what
there.
we're putting out too, like the dynamic we're having, I mean, a big part of this being public and natural, I mean, as a byproduct, just thinking back into the additional layers of the benefit into whoever the viewers might be, or just into the collective field of what we're doing by engaging in this way, in this very open and vulnerable in a sense, but just open, genuine chat and conversation for 3 hours, and just having this dialogue, what we're able to provide a place for people to do inside of themselves, to see their own connections with other people, to put the fact that we met on the waves we did, me, you, Angela, Zach. Now, I mean, like people that met such short term times and they're like hardcore in my vortex of everyday life and all in beautiful and beneficial in ways to all of us and in those
And
different
look
ways,
how
like
potent each one of us are. That's just, by
right.
ourselves,
Well,
we're all like, whoa, together. It's just this whole gravy train of awesome.
and that's true though. The point is that it all came together by us just trusting ourselves, higher selves, different paths, different symbol sets or whatever to get you to a place where you're creating your own reality. Know this reality is for you too, to meet soul family. Put it in your vortex. See how cool it is that we're meeting and interacting in this way. Like take how cool that feels to us and see that and how it feels. Throw it in your vortex, man. That's where we're in the
Remember,
time of meeting soul family right now, especially with the virus stuff, people in chaos. Like I feel like there's energetic availabilities to connect with you even digitally. Kala's coming out here in Washington, or she's out in Washington, but she'll be hanging out with Sam from the chat she just met 2 days ago or a couple days ago. She's a gypsy traveler anyway, and it just worked out. So like, really, you can connect so easily when you're expecting instead of like, oh, well, that'll never be me, or like, oh, I wish I had friends like that. Dude, you really will, and you can just believe it. Like, oh, that old belief systems, the BS, and just put it in your vortex. That's what I mean. Put it in there, let it go.
yeah, you got to let it go after that because people
Yeah.
sit and hold on to that. Like, why don't you love me? And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Stop
Nope, makes it worse.
it's not a stressful thing to do. You
Yeah.
put it out and it's a happy thought and you maintain that the fact that that's a good idea and happy thought whenever that thought reveals itself and you
Yeah.
continuously move through your life with all of those and that momentum gained and before you know it you find yourself in the right places you're never at the wrong place at the wrong time. By the way, I hate to say stuff like that because people go, yo, that's fucking crazy. If that guy wasn't there, I'm like, yeah, but he was meant to be there.
Yeah.
Right, like when I got stabbed, oh, you weren't meant to be there. Yo, I was meant to be there. I was meant to be there. There was a whole other fucking thing that led to that. And then it was like an instant test that like I had to get involved because holy shit, what was going on? Right. But what I learned and what happened and the way it went down. So I had to be there. It
Yeah.
was all meant to be exactly in that now moment where you needed to be
Right.
at that moment. you know, there's a million different things that were going on, which is why the dates never worked when people give dates.
Mm.
It never worked because everyone's in a different timeline, every one of us. So when we're deceived and we're wrapped into that external shit,
Yeah.
we're not there anymore. We're coming out of that. So that would provide a whole bunch of shit and it never working, never working, never working. I can't. It's the rat race. Like, yo, do it now. Watch what happens now. The
Yeah.
timelines have shifted into a optimum area where there's like three. It's like you make the choice to go dark or light. Like
Mm.
I'm tired. Just turn away from the bad shit. Just go.
Yeah.
I don't want that in my life. And then there's like you working towards one of those three timelines. And as you're working towards that, because that's all that's there.
Yeah.
It's the path of the light.
Did I
Light is the
remember? I
transformation.
remember.
Disclosure come now or later. That's it.
So I remember in high school. So my progression through the church. I grew up in the church, so grew up with those stories, the Bible stories, the Bible basic stuff, relationship with Jesus, having not religion, relationship or whatever those things. And then fell away from that, if you will, when I was like 12, 13. Parents going through divorce, stopped going to church, and then I was like a super fat chubby kid, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Like it was just like awful, super insecure. Parents going through divorce. Like that connects to being molested when I was 13, which I've talked about at length in other shows, which resolved beautifully. And like 8 years later, he ended up being the first pedophile in Washington state history to plead guilty as charged. So there's a whole other beautiful story behind that whole thing. That's why I throw it in there semi lightly, because there's context and it's somewhere in the videos. So going through that whole transition during that time, and up into high school, I remember I decided to play basketball. And because I hadn't played, I played once when I was younger. I played baseball my whole life in rec leagues and then for school and other sports, but I just hadn't had a chance to play basketball really. But I tried out for basketball and it was so bad. I was 6'1", 290, and I tripping over my own feet, hadn't had grown to my body, whatever. And when I made the tryouts, the coach said, like, they bring you out one by one out of the gym after the whole 2 weeks of conditioning, tryouts, all that other stuff. And he tell you one by one if you made it or not. And he said, you made it, but barely. We're really gonna work with you this year. And like that was fine with me. So like, but that got me in shape, got my endorphins going, got me healthy. I grew 5 inches and lost 80 pounds in a year. I started getting like really popular, like whatever, not popular, just popular. So I was comfortable with myself. I was happy. I was interacting with lots of people. I got along with every different type of group. Obviously, look what we're creating here, right? But like, but actually just enjoying my life. When I remember thinking, like, I'll deal with okay, the original point here. I remember thinking, I'll follow. I know at some point in my life I'll follow God, follow Spirit, right? But at this point in time, I just want to do what I want to do. I want to have fun and want to party and just have fun. Like I just have a great time. I have a 3.95 GPO. Like it's not that hard, or school wasn't that hard for me, so I wanted to enjoy what I was doing. And so actually, I think by the time senior year came around, it was like 3.65. I was like, no, I know what I'm achieving in life. I don't even need to give enough effort to get like a really high GPA. That's the effort. I'm fine. I'm just gonna put in that because I have way other things I want to do with my time. Oh Jesus! All right, so anyway, going through this time, and then at the end of high school, I was super into it. So I super came back, and I was super into the dynamic. I was connected with my heart. I was healing my own traumas. I was connected with spirit in all those different ways, and oh, sometimes like when you take a breath, just at a random moment, like it feels. Oh, we may have lost Frank. Actually, it's a really interesting transition. Right, I lost Frank. I did this random, like, hey, when you take a breath. Oh, we'll see if he comes back. But if he doesn't, it might be. Yeah, everybody's about out, I think. Well, we have 8 viewers. Who are you, amazing people? Because I'm here barely able to keep my eyes open to an extent here. Oh, Frank might be back. Hey, there he is.
I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Here's what's interesting. I just shifted, like in the middle of like what I was saying. I took a breath, and then I said, do you know when every time you take a breath and it feels so good, right? Whatever, like, and you dropped out of the call. Okay, but like, so here's the thing. I took that potentially as a cue if you didn't come back on because I'm having a hard time keeping my eyes open over here, which is the first time I've ever like had to say that with you. But we got a solid 3 hours 15 minutes in. It's got to be what what 40 your AM your time.
3:25. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I just appreciate you. I appreciate
Oh,
Zach. I
yeah,
appreciate all of you, all the listeners, um,
yeah.
and just having the chat. It's never a forced thing. We all need our time. I'm about to go outside under the moon and do a little dance. I want to fucking dance. I don't know what is wrong with me the last couple of days. I just
Cool,
want to
man.
dance all the time. So
Fuck
I'm just
yeah.
going to go out there and smoke a blunt and dance, listening to some music,
Cool. Well, they'll
because
take time.
I can.
Take a few moments of that dance time and think about me dancing with you. I'll be thinking about it. We'll engage.
Fuck
Like we'll
yeah.
portal into each other, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And anybody that's listening, you guys want to dance? Come join us on the Starship Fearless.
Cool,
Let's
man.
rock and roll.
We're
I
serious.
love
Like
you
we're
so
talking
much,
about it.
brother.
We're having I love you too, man. I love you too, man. So much. This whole thing is beautiful. The just being created here and having the space and like it's awesome. Fucking awesome.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you again in person. Hope I'll be traveling to see Zach at the end of the month. And I don't know, but we'll see. I'm going to make traveling. I think I can work that with my other work schedule that works in a balanced way. That's great. And try to do that somewhat regularly. So we will see with the COVID stuff. But obviously, before that was going crazy, we slid by just fine. So if we're supposed to connect, we'll connect. I'm not worried. And you're supposed to come out. You're supposed to come out. Frank, do we have any timeline on that at all yet? Or are we still just kind of waiting how things settle? Because right now, you were cleaning your
Everything's
neighbor's
just,
yard.
it's the best I could do right now.
Then that's awesome. And obviously,
Unless I
what you did.
drive to you.
Lets you drive.
Yeah, I'm not driving though. Fuck that
No
shit.
way. Wait, because you're not allowed to fly right now?
Yeah.
Is
Plus,
that a thing now?
everybody needs me here too. I
No, I
can't
know
take.
that's the dynamic. Yeah, that's important, man. We've talked about that. Really, you just do like okay. Here's to emphasize, like we won't freak out here real bad, but like, dude, the primary things are family, man, for sure. What you got in
Yeah.
front of you, and when the right things line up, it'll line up. So I'm just super.
Yeah.
Little
Don't
Aaron's
ever
here,
think I
super
don't want
excited.
that. It's coming.
I
It's in the
know, man.
vortex hard,
I know, bro. I know, bro. We just put some more into it. Check this out. Okay, I'll leave you this one story. So I don't know. I think I may have told this one point, but it's come up to me several times tonight. So when you and because I was following your show, and since May 2018 ish, and it was May 2017 because it was April ish 2018. That was part of the Fearless group, but I was just part of it. I wasn't really active in it. I wasn't active on Facebook till the next year. But then I was following the TFR broadcast, your show, and the meditations and stuff we're doing for Chris and them and Chris and Shree in Egypt. And I remember one night it was a night I was sleeping on the couch. Is one of the reasons I remember it. It's the reason I wanted those nights I chose to go sleep on the couch. But I remember getting up in the middle of the night, and as I'm sitting up from the couch, I'm fully coming out of this real experience, right? Of this part of me that was me saying, hold on, guys, my avatar's got to pee. He's talking about me, right? 3D me. And as I'm getting up, I'm laughing because it was so like audible in my head, right? And it was so real. Like I understood it in some level, like my astral self or my spirit or my that whole thing. I don't know, whatever. But there's a group of them. They're all doing the thing with that thing in Egypt. I knew they're all doing that thing, right? And he was annoyed. Hold on, guys. My avatar's gotta pee. I go up, walk, and as I'm standing there peeing, I'm laughing to myself the whole time. And I just laughingly went back into my dream or whatever afterwards. But how cool is that?
That's fucking great, dude. That is great. And it's just it's the funniest ways that happen that break you out of what you were into the new thing that you're in. Like,
Mm,
just by having that awareness and the
yeah.
laughter makes it a fucking epic thing, right? To
Yeah.
teach later back here. But you know what? I've had moments like that as well, and it's those moments are fantastic because now we're here. And then it led to us talking about teleportation
Yeah.
and practicing that crazy shit, right? And then it
Yeah.
working on a weird level, and we're like, yo, what the fuck? And we're like, yo, we got to do that. And then I did the same thing with Andrew Sly. We did a
Yeah.
3 minute meditation, and I said, you came to me with no shirt and red pants, and you were doing like weird shit, like if you were Russian and then Chinese, and then it's just weird what you're doing. But
Yeah.
he fucking took a picture of himself. He goes, me right now. And he had no shirt on, and he had a fucking giant red blanket wrapped around his waist.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm like, yo, tell me that's you right now. And then he went live, and we were like, holy shit. I said, this is working. Me and Aaron just did something like this.
Cool.
Like when you submit to the process, it's accidental at first almost, and then
Yeah.
you start to break it down, right? No pressure situation. Just try. Just
Yeah.
talk. We were just talking, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit! I was next to you in the van.
Hmm.
Right? It'll
So
work.
let's
We're
so let's
breaking
take
through.
let's take that energy and that into the fact that we're all gonna believe as we get off this call in the next few moments, next little while, we're gonna be tuning into Frank dancing outside in the energy, beautiful energy vortex he just created by healing that community and that neighborhood and cleaning up the land. And he's gonna go out there under the moon and he's gonna go dance, man. And he's invited you to come join that sphere and that realm that he's creating. And so all we gotta do is tune in, man. Let's all do it together afterwards. And if you want to share your experiences tomorrow or something, like, hey, when we tuned in, I felt I was experiencing this dancing with Frank, and I was experiencing this, man. And Frank, come on, share it too. Like, let's fucking do it, man. Let's make this real.
Dude, I'm going out there with sage and a blunt right now.
Oh, I
Right? The
love you,
moon is
Frank
almost
Castle.
full. Look up at the
Yeah.
moon, think about it, connect to me, connect to the grid, and let's fucking boogie woogie. I love you guys so much. Aaron, you're the man. Space Jesus. Wooga 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 wooga. Space Jesus. Wooga wooga wooga. All right. Yo, man,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Later, bro. Love you, man.
Later.
Bye. And I am going to go get Wendy's because somebody mentioned in the chat earlier about French fries and ice cream. And little Aaron decided that's what we're doing a while ago. And I woke up enough at the end of that that I'm definitely going to go get that. So, love you guys. Yeah, love you guys. Have a good night. Thank you all for being here. The 9 of you. Ooh, 9. That's a very special number to me. I like 9 a lot. I like fractals. I like 369. All right, so 333. Is it also 333? Come on, man. Look at those synchronicities. Look at that shit. I just said like I fucking love 9. It's a very special number to me. Whatever else I said, and then she fucking types in 333. So like, that's cool. All right, this is where shit can get weird, like dragging on an ending when it should just end. All right, bring me Wendy's. Wish I could. Imagine me sending you an Astro Wendy's. There. See if that worked. See if that was enough energy, visceral energy I put into that to actually get that to you that you received it in a visceral way. It's got to be the chocolate frosty and the French fries. Dude, I'm going. I got to go. You guys have a good night. Talk amongst yourselves. Well, actually, I guess the chat will end. But get to know yourselves outside. You got to sign in through this thing through Facebook or chat or YouTube. So you should be able to click on each other's channel link or like something, exchange information, build your own little community. And she said, "Hi, that was great. Was it good? Did you taste it? Nice. Yeah, cool shit. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's here. Yeah, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting caught up in the chat, guys. I love you guys. This is so cool that we have this community. It's like, oh, I gotta let my friends go. All right. I linger. The Carlsons would know. Nate would know for sure. I linger. I'm like, come on, hang on, all right, let me give you a little tidbit story. Dude, okay, with Nate, I have like no, I have literally paid Nate to hang out with me longer this last year. Certain jobs were like he didn't have to do. I'm like, Nate, come on. If you ride with me, I'll pay you for half the checks. Instead of me just be able to do it on my own. Like I do my checks, we meet up in the day. I do my other checks and we separate. So I want to hang out with him, man. Like I want a friend. I want to be around Nate and like people. Anyway. So it's cool. I'm glad to get you guys. Really, that's like satiating in a very fascinating way digitally. And this is just nightly dynamic that helps us satiate a lot of engagement and social interaction. And, it's a very nice place that I'm in. Very content and like doing great. So that's good. All right. Love you guys. I'm going to be done. I'm done rambling about my shit. So, all right. Can all chat. We can all astral chat in our dreams. Okay, so you can set attention for that. They put your own filters around, so it's all wonderful, unific, and in harmony with what we're building here. Blah 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 blah. It's not blah, but it's true, right? And then tune into the chat as you're dreaming. Continue to have a chat, man. Fractals can have chats that can go on and they can integrate later. Maybe your conscious awareness, maybe not. Like, they just put your own parameters around that, make it pure, and make golden light. Blah blah blah. We'll show you gotta do. That's a great idea. And that's astral chat. Did a bit of that last night. Astral chat, yeah. I'm not. See, guys, I haven't like astral projected in the traditional way apparently. So that's a whole other thing for me that I like. I do it all from the body, but I don't know. I'm told that I'm doing it right. Like if you got that Wendy's, I say astrally. I'm not joking when I say that. I mean, I do kind of. I mean, if I want to be more serious, I could try to put more energy into it. I feel like you would get it. But I'm not like out of the body. I want to be so bad. I wanted to have that experience. I've never had that, like actually separated from the body, but so close. So close. So if you can send helpful energy for me in that way, people. Or I trust some of you. Put this out here. You come in a sacred neutral way, whatever. Just all whatever. Help pull me out of the body. Right? In a way, teach me, help me, it's not trauma. I don't know. Maybe there's things. Maybe soul contracts, I can't do it yet. I get it, so I'm open to that. That's fine. I'm doing just work, discipline, really. Come on. I'm not negating that. There's really, if I really wanted, I know there's so many techniques, things I could just really be disciplined with. So it's on me, really. So I'm just like pleading for charity when really it's me needing to do the work. So it's fine. Good self-realization, Aaron. All right, I'm out. Oh, good. Hold on. That was funny. Some kind of fry. Send some fries with the frosty. All right. All right. Done. I got you. Cool. All right. Somebody's gonna come help. That'll be great. I would love to break that barrier in the way that I want to break the barrier, and that'll be new shit I talk about on the show. For sure. Those experiences, because that's cool. Find out what kind of incoherence I have going on. Maybe. Da da da. All right. I'm out. Wait, hold on. There's a private chat in here. This might have been from a long time ago. Oh yeah, he was talking to Angela in the back. That makes sense. Oh, shit, after this lifetime, we'll never be in that body again. Don't rush it. I know, fair enough. That's what I am told, but it's like, come on, man. Some people have lived with astral projection their whole life. I have not. So it's like everyone around me's tried Lucy or has done Lucy or is doing Lucy, right? They're like, well, just wait. I'm like, yeah, but you're doing it. Like, you've done it for a long time. Like, I want to do it now. I'm not married anymore. I don't have any constraints. And that's a whole nother realm of like exploration. I really want to. There's so much I want to do. Experiment on the realm with myself and with like my own body, like in different ways, and see the different layers of the skin suit. All the stuff I talk about. I know there's realms and those frequencies. Astro, it seems to me, and I know I can do it from the body. I can intuit in. Guys, come on, intuiting can get boring. I would like some other types of visceral experiences. All right, I'm done. Okay, so love you guys. Have a great night. It's 1, 2, 3, 9 right now on my end, Pacific time, and with a bunch of us here on the West Coast. And to wherever you are at any point in the future, I love you. Really love the world. I do. I love being here. I love being here with people who also love to be here. Are loving to learn to love themselves and love the world. And we're just on this beautiful ride together. So thanks for being on the ride. I'm gonna go have some wonderful Wendy's. And Astro Wendy's for everyone. Wendy's fries, Wendy's and fries, Wendy's and fries. Grab that shit. It's like a piñata. You got to reach out and grab it, though. All right. Love you guys. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow night.